Hey everybody, how you doing? How you doing? Come on in, come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So good to see everybody. Let me go in and hit the chat button so I can let you guys come into the chat. For some reason, Zoom doesn't open the chat. I have to open it manually. How's everybody doing tonight? So good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to change your life tonight. I promise you. You guys know I know how to do it, and I'm going to do it. It's going to be extraordinary. You're going to walk out of here a different person. And if you could say something in the chat, let me know what city you're from. I see Tanya and Keith Bird and Barbara from Fayetteville. Let's see, Alfonso from Birmingham, Anita from Phoenix, Delisha from NYC, Glenn Ford from Dallas, Tanya from Phoenix, Carlene from Duval. Is that Duval, Texas? Or let's see here, Leslie from Ohio, Michelle out of Atlanta, Misha out of Milwaukee, Sky out of Charlotte. Let's see, Roxanne, Apex, Marlon out of Houston, H-Town, very nice. Jonathan, LA. I'm going to Los Angeles tomorrow. Becky, Detroit. Lorna from New York City, one of my favorite places. And Eunice says, I cannot wait. I'm in Ohio. Well, I'm in Ohio State, Buckeye Eunice, so I love you already. All right, so welcome everybody. And I'm not going to waste a lot of your time at all. I'm not going to waste any time tonight. I'm actually going to invest this time into offering you some information that I believe is going to elevate you in every single way. I think that this is really exciting. This is actually some pretty deep revolutionary stuff that we're able to do in the Black Business School. We're really proud of our faculty. We're really proud of what we're able to do for the community. Now, in case you want to know what we're trying to do here in the Black Business School, we are trying to create an HBCU. We believe that HBCUs can be created without the need for government funding. We believe HBCUs can be created without the need for excessive corporate sponsorship. We believe that HBCUs can be created with a fraction of the cost without the student loans and everything else. And the Black Business School has done it. We have done it. We have excellent faculty, PhDs, attorneys, therapists, all kinds of people. We even have the first ever Black financial therapy department where we are digging deep into cutting edge research on money mindset, everything from financial anxiety to the ability to work together as a group so you can build wealth together as a group. The Powernomics philosophy is all about groupism and group work. And so we are not capitalists because it's, in fact, our economic philosophy is probably more socialist communist, but it's not really labeled. You can't label it because we end up being able to make as much wealth as a capitalist would. But we do it in a way that is ethical, right? Because capitalism is unfortunately very harmful. Capitalism is the reason that your healthcare system is so bad. Capitalism is the reason that they sell you fast food that is going to kill you. Give me a yes in the chat if you understand what I'm saying. Capitalism is the reason that that we have a lot of problems in our society. So we don't want to be capitalists up in here, but we also don't need to walk away from money as if wealth does not matter. We are here to build a strong community by building strong individuals and building strong families. We educate our kids on wealth at the age of 6 so that they'll be ready to dominate when they are 26. We don't wait until the last minute. We don't react. We are proactive. That is the philosophy we have in the Black Business School, and that's why we're the best on earth at what we do. So anyway, let me hop in and just tell you guys that I'm about to start. I'm about to pull some slides up, and we're just going to get going, man, because I'm really excited about this discussion we're going to have, and I want to introduce you to a methodology that I think is one that is life-changing. It's not just something that I talk about from a theoretical standpoint. It is something that I practice. From a personal, practical standpoint, it's something that I do in my own life. This is how I make my money. This is actually how I make my income, the bulk of my income. And so I'm going to share some of this with you and introduce you to some ideas that you may not have seen before. Some of you maybe have seen it. Some of you haven't. Well, let me just tell you why I'm super excited about it. All right, so let's jump in here. So I want to talk to you guys about how to make money without working. That's something that that we as Black people, I don't think we get exposed to very often. But one thing you should understand is that the majority of the wealthy Americans in this country that are making lots of money, they don't get up and go to work every day. They don't do 9 to 5s. They don't have a boss. They don't report to somebody. In America right now, to be in the top 1% of all income earners, you have to make about a little more than $500,000 a year. That's what I just saw. That was the last piece of data I just saw today. So you have to make $500,000 a year to be in the top 1%. A lot of those top 1%, they don't get up and go to work every day. They don't just have good jobs. they have good investments. And so I'm going to introduce you to an investing model that I use that I apply from the PhD that I have. I got my PhD at The Ohio State University, and these are some things that I put together based on what I understand about financial markets and how money can be extracted from financial markets. And I did this because I love my wife and I love my kids, and I want to leave a legacy for my family. So here's so why are you here? Well, the first reason that you're here is because you want to learn how to generate passive streams of income using stock options. That's the goal for today. We're going to talk about how to generate not just income, but passive streams of income. Passive means you're just chilling. You're not really doing anything. The money's just coming in. And stock options is something that you may have heard people talk about in the media, but they talk about it wrong. They introduce it wrong. People are applying it wrong. And I'm going to explain that in a second as we move forward. Next, you want to level up your life. Give me a yes in the chat if you want to level up. Everybody in here that wants to level up, that's doing things to put yourself in a better position, where you want to level up your kids, you want to level up yourself, you want to level up your spouse, you want to level up your situation, whatever that situation may be. I don't care if you're at the very top. They say, Michael Jordan said in his book that when you stop growing, you start dying, and none of y'all did. Y'all are 100% alive and growing and thriving and pushing and striving, and I commend you for that. You're also here because you want to invest in a way that's safe and affordable and impactful on your family finances. A lot of investing happened during the pandemic, and a lot of that investing was very bad. That investing led to a lot of people losing money. They saw this when the stock market started to crash and crazy things started to happen. And a lot of people were investing in weird crypto schemes and whatever. And I feel bad for those people because they didn't understand that what goes up can come down. And a lot of things that went up did go down. And so you want to invest in a way that is safe, affordable, and impactful. Also, what else might you want to do? Well, you might also want to leave a legacy of generational wealth. How many of you want to leave something behind? I hope that you're in this category. We're all about legacy. Part of my legacy personally is going to be the Black Business School. I want to let you guys know when I die, I will leave millions of dollars to the board of trustees at the Black Business School, and I will give them specific mandates in terms of what our core mission is. And I want to be the founder of a university. The same way John Harvard started Harvard University 200 or 300 years ago, I'm starting the Black Business School now. And I told him, I said, I just give me a little statue in front of the building and just kind of don't forget that I was here and build on what we started. Because if you don't leave that legacy, then everybody after you is going to have to start all over again. So we're all about legacy. We're all about institution building. We're all about power. We're all about seeing that family as an institutional piece. Even if you don't have kids, that doesn't mean you can't be a parent. Even if you don't have a biological family you can work with, that doesn't mean you can't have an economic family. If you don't have a family and you're here by yourself, that's okay. We're your family. I got you. Like when I see you at the convention, I'll give you a hug because I got you. We are family up in here because I know that not everybody thinks the way that we do. And I want to encourage you in your desire to build a legacy for the people you love. All right. So here are some lies that I was told as a child. These were things that somebody told me that just were not true. A lot of economic lies are given to you when you're a kid, and these are lies that keep you broke. These are lies that keep you in the struggle. These are lies that keep us stuck on generational curses. And one of the lies that I got, tell me if you ever heard this one, that everybody has to get a job. Did you grow up kind of thinking, like when you told somebody you wanted to make money, maybe your parents, and they didn't mean to curse you like this. They didn't know what they didn't know what was going on. They didn't know that they were doing this to you. But how many of you heard like, okay, when you want to make some money, well, you better get a job. Get a good job, boy. You better grow up and get a job. Get a job. Get a job. Right? I heard that too. I heard that a lot, that you have to get a job. And I will tell you this, I don't teach that to my kids. And I don't say you have to get a job. I say you have to pay the bills, right? That's what I say. You have to find a way to pay the bills. So if I give you a head start and I pay some bills in advance for you, then you can go your whole life and not have to even pay the bills. You definitely got to go to work. So this idea that everybody has to get a job, that is a false idea. That is a lie. That is a myth. That is something that we were told maybe because we were slaves or also because America is a capitalist society where they convince a segment of the population that you got to go to work in order to pay your bills. That is not true. Also, how many of you heard this? If you don't work, you don't eat. Like, boy, if you don't work, you don't eat. Anybody heard that? If you don't work, you don't eat. Okay, so that is not true either. Now work is important. When it comes to building things, like I work to build the institution. I work to do things with my family. I work to write books and stuff like that. You guys know my new book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. I had to work to write that book. But this idea that you have to work in order to eat, that's simply not true. As I mentioned to you guys, most of the people that make the most money in this country are the ones who work the least. What they focus on doing, unfortunately, some of them, is they focus on getting other people to do the work for them. I heard a billionaire who said this once, and he said that the secret to being a billionaire is not how hard you work. The secret to being a billionaire is how hard you get other people to work. Okay, so if that statement, if you don't work, you don't eat, that is simply not true. Don't believe that anymore. You have to work if you don't have any capital or you don't have any money. But if you have capital money, you don't have to work in order to eat, and you can eat well by making certain moves. The third myth, let me know if you've heard this one. You have to have money in order to make money. If you ain't got money, you can't make money. Anybody ever heard that? You got to have money to make money, right? Anybody heard that one? Well, that's a common myth too. A lot of people say that, and I can see where people are tempted to say that, right? Because it does seem that it's easier to make money when you have money, and that is true. If you have money, it is easier to make money. If you unless you blow it, if you do something crazy with your money. But you don't actually have to have money in order to make money. That's not true. That part's not true. Money is one type of capital. What you really have to have is you have to have capital in order to make money. What is capital? Well, capital is anything of value that you can extract wealth from. So that means you can make money from stocks. You can make money from your real estate. You can make money from your human capital, your time and energy. There are plenty of people out here that have no money that are able to make plenty of money because they have something that other people want. They have something of value that they can sell, offer to the world, that ends up helping them make money. This is why one of the mandates in the Black Business School that we ask you to pursue is to make sure that every Black child in your sphere of influence knows how to start a business by the age of 12. Because if they know how to sell something and they can see value and see wealth and see capital, they don't have to have money in order to make money. They know where the capital is and they can convert that capital into money. So this idea that you have to have money in order to make money, that is not true. That is absolutely false. Do not let anybody ever tell you that, because that is not true. All right, so what is a stock option? Let's talk about stock options. But first, before we talk about that, I want to ask you guys about, some of you have been studying in the Black Business School in some of our stock options programs, but it never hurts to kind of refresh your thinking on some of this. How many of you, give me a yes in the chat, how many of you know what it means to have options? How many of you know what it feels like? Give me a yes if you if I say, oh, he's got plenty of options. Do you know what I mean when I say that? How many of you know what it means to have options? Give me a yes in the chat. And I want you to think about what that feels like. You have options, you can do a lot of stuff. You feel wealthier. You may not even have any more money, but you got options. Like if you're dating, like you're a pretty girl and 10 guys are trying to talk to you, you got options. That feels pretty good, right? Now I want you to think about how you feel when you don't have options. Well, that sucks. It's kind of like slavery. That's what slavery is. Slavery is being stuck in a world without options. A lot of us become slaves to corporate America and have to go to jobs that we hate because we don't have options. If we had options, we would pursue those options, but we don't have any options. So we're stuck doing whatever massa tells us to do, right? So ultimately, from a psychological standpoint, you guys know we've done a lot of research in our Black Financial Therapy Department on financial anxiety, financial depression, things like that. And one of the things that we found is that people who don't have options are more depressed. And this is simple and it's true, right? So if you want your kids to be happier, which I think is an important goal for kids, that's a nice goal. They're not going to fight you. If you tell your child to be a doctor or a lawyer, they might just rebel just because kids are rebellious. But if you say, I want you to be happy, they're not going to fight that. Who would get mad at you for saying, I just want you to be happy? Right? But then you have to define what happiness looks like, right? So that's the thing, you got to define what happiness looks like. And one thing that they would agree on, even if your child is 7, is they'll understand that you're happier when you have plenty of options, right? Well, son, how do you get options? Well, education gives you options. Investing gives you options. Being financially secure gives you options. Being intelligent gives you options. Do you understand? So you can guide them in the direction you want them to go without telling them what you want them to do. Right. So ultimately, we all know what it feels like to have options. Now, so stock options are basically one type of option that's out there. It's a financial version of the concept of options. So you already understand what a stock option is. I just need to kind of nail down the financial theory so you kind of understand exactly what it is from a financial standpoint. So an option, to use the more technical definition, is it's an obligation, excuse me, it's the right to do something, but not the obligation to do it, right? So that means you can do it, but you don't have to do it. So for example, right now, I have the option of jumping out my window if I want to, but I'm not going to do that. You know why I'm not going to exercise that option? Because it's 23 degrees outside. Me and my wife went running today and it is freezing out there. I mean, my butt was so cold when I came back. My hands were so cold. It took me a while to even warm up on the keyboard, right? So an option is something that I could do, but it doesn't have much value to me right now to have that option because, you know, I don't want to jump out the window. But what if conditions change? What if the house caught on fire? Right. And I was locked in the basement and the whole outside of my office was on fire. Well, then suddenly that option to jump out the window becomes very valuable to me. I would pay money for the option, the right, but not the obligation to jump out that window. Right. Because now the option means something because I need to exercise that option. You understand? So a financial option is kind of the same way. It is the right to do something, but you don't actually have to do it. It's not the obligation. So, for example, with a stock option, you might say, I have the right to buy your stock between now and next Friday. And, you know, and I can buy it at a certain price. I can buy it for $65. Now, the price may not be 65 yet, so I may not exercise that option. Why would I buy a $65 stock from you when I can buy it on the market for 58? Right. So if the stock price is below the price that I've agreed that I could buy it from you for, then I'm not going to pay that. But what if the stock goes way up? It's suddenly the stock goes to $150. Well, then suddenly that option to buy it at 65 is a very valuable option. Give me a yes if you're following what I'm saying. Give me a yes. Let's stop right there and just sort of focus on that definition and give me a yes if you follow what I'm saying, what that means to have a stock option. Let me see. I'm going to look at your responses here in the chat just to make sure we're moving and grooving together. Okay, good. And I get excited. When I get excited, I talk a little bit fast, and I hope that's okay. But this stuff really does excite me. I'm not pretending. Okay. All right. So we know what it means to have an option. We know what it means to have an option when it comes to stock. It's the right to do something, but you don't actually have to do it. Well, every option has a buyer and a seller, right? So a lot of times, for example, this might happen in Hollywood. Like let's say Shonda Rhimes writes a new script. And that script is for a new movie. A Hollywood studio may come along and say, look, we don't want to buy your script from you, but we want an option on your script. So what they then might say is, we're going to sign a contract with you where we have the right to buy your script anytime in the next 5 years for $2 million. That means you can't sell this script to anyone else without going through us for the next 5 years. And so suddenly if you become the most popular thing in the world, or your script becomes really valuable, it doesn't matter because we have the option to buy it from you for $2 million. So every option has a buyer and a seller. The buyer gives up money to get someone else's option, right? The seller is receiving money, but they're giving something up. Right. So Shonda Rhimes receives money to give up the right. She gives up her right to sell the script to anybody. She can't sell it to anybody now because she's committed to the person who holds the option. And she cannot sell to anyone else until that option either expires or she maybe buys it back and says, here's your money. I want my freedom back. I want to be able to sell it to someone else. Right. So when you sell an option, you're kind of giving something away, but you also receive cash, because you've given away your right to do certain things, right? So every stock option has a buyer and a seller. And the thing is that there's a massive, massive market of people buying and selling options every day. The market is huge. There's 40 million options contracts traded every day. And basically it's a bunch of people that are just kind of gambling on what a stock price is going to be. So for example, if a stock price is trading at 50, there will be people that will say, hey, I'll sell you the option to buy my stock at 53 by next Friday, but you got to pay me $1.50 per share to have that option. That means that anybody who buys that option can buy your stock from you for $53. If the stock price goes above 53, then it's a great option. If it doesn't go above 53, then it's not a good option. Right? So this is a massive market. This was one of the biggest drivers of economic activity all throughout the entire pandemic. When the pandemic occurred, there were tons and tons, millions and millions of people that were buying options on stock, because what options did was it allowed them to pay small amounts of money to get in on the game, to get in on the action. Right? So that means you buy an option to, I pay $2 a share to buy an option on Amazon stock, which with a price what they call a strike price. That's the price it has to go past before the option kicks in and becomes valuable. A strike price is slightly above the price that the stock is trading at. And if the stock goes above that price, then the value of my option goes up and I can do a quick flip. A lot of people were looking for those quick flips because it was almost like a type of financial crack. It really was financial crack because think about this. You can invest $3,000 and if things work out, you're making 10 or 15,000 off the $3,000 investment. That's pretty good. But for every yin, there is a yang. For every good thing, there's a bad thing. For every light, there's a dark. So the good side is, hey, if it works out, I win. I make all this money. The downside, though, is that if it doesn't work out, you lose everything. You can lose everything. Right? So options, a lot of people, millions of people were buying options largely because options are easy to understand and options can give you a quick flip. And a lot of people are looking for the quick flip because we live in a world where people seek out instant gratification. We live in a world where people are always looking for that easy money. We live in a world where people want to make money overnight. They want that fly by night. And I'm not in that category. I don't go chasing waterfalls. My cousin's in the group TLC, and she taught me a long time ago. She's T-Boz, Tiana Watkins. That's her name. Tiana Watkins and TLC, the greatest female group of all time, told me, don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. So I don't buy a lot of stock options. That's my point. And let me explain why. Let's keep going. So options are beautiful, and before I actually explain why, let's talk about what options can do, though. Options kind of allow you to season your portfolio. So options, understanding options is a critically important part of being a good investor. You have your stock. A lot of us know how to buy stock, but the options allow you to kind of calibrate your portfolio, like putting seasoning on food, right? So imagine food that is seasoned properly versus food that is bland, right? Food that's bland, it's not very interesting. Food that's seasoned is made just right for you, just the right amount of salt, just the right amount of pepper, right amount of cinnamon, paprika, whatever it is you want to season it with. Options allow you to do that. But the reason I don't buy a lot of stock options is because those who buy stock options typically do not make money. They don't make money. The people that were buying all those options during the pandemic, a lot of these 22-year-olds getting on Robinhood, overpaying for stock options on GameStop and AMC and all that, they were losing millions and millions of dollars. They were getting their butts kicked because they were on the buy side of that transaction. Now, the thing about this market is that it is what is called a zero-sum game. It's like a football game. If you watch the NFL playoffs, for every winner, there is a what? Answer in the chat. And for every loser, there is a winner. So if they're losing, if they're on the buy side of the deal, then what does that mean? Who's winning? You got the buyer and the seller. If the buyers are losing, then who's winning? The sellers, right? So I never came into this market looking to buy stock options. I come into the market to sell. I come into market to sell. I sell side. So that's what I did all through the pandemic. That's what I've been doing ever since. That's what I do to this day. I do it every single week. I sell stock options. And that has generated me hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's what I do. Now, where can I add value? Well, because, having a PhD comes in handy. You know what to look for, what to watch out for. You know where the opportunities are. You know where the risks are, right? So here's the deal. In this transaction, in this big trade between the buyers of options and the sellers of options, it's like going to a casino. It's like going to Vegas, right? So process this for a minute, right? If you're talking about a gambler going to a casino in the house, who always wins? Does the gambler typically win, or does the house win? The house always wins. The house eventually wins. Now, remember this, though. So if you know that the house always wins, then why would people go and gamble? Why would people even show up and gamble if you know that the house is going to win? Well, because every gambler doesn't lose. There's that 38, 40, 45% that might win something, right? So everybody's thinking I can be in that group, that small group of winners. But the house is always going to win. That's why companies like MGM make billions of dollars every year, because the house always wins on average, right? So in this trade, between option buyers and option sellers, you got the gambler, which is a person buying the option. They're seeking to speculate. And then you've got the house, which is me. I'm selling the option because I already own the stock. And I say, hey, look, if you want to buy an option on my stock, you can. I want to be the house. I don't want to be the gambler. I want to be the house. So this is a specific type of trading strategy that's built more so for people that want to generate income, who don't need to be greedy, who are not trying to bet the whole farm, who just want to have a steady, consistent income that you can rely on, even when the stock market's going down. I made hundreds of thousands of dollars selling options on my stock, even when the stock market was going down, because I do not believe in being a greedy investor. So let's keep going. So here's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you a couple of things. One, I'm going to show you why selling stock options actually saved my real estate portfolio. My wife and I, we invest in all different areas, in real estate, stocks, everything in between. And I'm going to show you why my options actually saved my real estate portfolio. It was tough to make the income that we'd like to have on real estate, and stock options actually really came through in terms of providing cash flow that supported our real estate investments. Two, why selling stock options is easier than running a business. I've run many, many businesses, and I find that selling stock options is the easiest way to make money I've ever had in my life. Three, why selling stock options is better than simply owning shares of stock. A lot of us buy stock, and it can be a little bit dull because you're sitting there waiting for the stock to go up. Well, what do you do when the stock takes 3 years to go up? What do you do when you have 2 years of negative returns in the stock market? You're just waiting. It's kind of dull, right? So let's keep going. So here's a house we bought. We went to this house in Atlanta, and we really loved it. It was a beautiful house, and we fell in love with it in a minute. And we bought it, and we thought we were going to use it, and then we realized we'd rather rent it out, and we did. So we made it into a rental property, and we have a nice lady that lives there, and she's an excellent tenant. And it's cool because the tenant, if you know anything about real estate, the tenant, kind of gives you enough rent money to cover the mortgage, and it's great, right? That's why I'm a big believer in the ownership of real estate. I love real estate. Real estate ownership is a very substantive sort of investment. It makes you feel good to own a piece of the earth. It's all that good stuff, right? Well, one day I got a phone call, and somebody sent me this picture. And this is a picture of the downstairs bathroom. The downstairs bathroom, apparently, because I'm a forgetful professor who's always working on doing other stuff, and I forgot to pay one of the bills. So the sump pump backed up because the electricity went out. And when the sump pump backed up, all the downstairs flooded. And next thing you know, we got all this destruction and mold in the basement. And so this bathroom had to be completely torn out and gutted and repaired. And the mold had to be cleaned out. And then I had to apologize and pay for the neighbor's damage because the water had leaked through to their place. And it was just terrible. And here's the thing. It wasn't so much just a matter of like the fact that we weren't making any money from the property at this point because all of our cash flow was going toward this repair. It was just the inconvenience of it all. It was a pain in the butt. I like real estate, but I don't know how much I enjoy being a landlord. I don't know. Give me a yes if you know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't know how much I enjoy like getting a call in the middle of the night because somebody's toilet broke or something flooded. I know you have property managers and stuff out there, but even talking to the property manager was draining, and so I like real estate, but I tend to be an investor in things like real estate investment trust rather than actually buying property because there's a lot that comes with it, a lot of time, a lot of attention, a lot of energy. It's not that it's bad though, but it's not optimal for me. And also it's not the best way to make money. And actually, I can even give you an example that shows this, but yeah. So this is what happened, and so one of the things I realized is that I real estate's nice, but it was actually the money I was making from stock options that kept flowing even when my real estate money stopped. Okay, so also in terms of businesses, I've run a lot of businesses, and I love running businesses. The problem with running a business is that you can't run a lot of them. Like after you sort of put your heart and soul into one or two businesses, you can't run like 10, and eventually you get tired. I don't know if anybody ever gets to the point where you're just tired of always working like nonstop all the time. Even when you're successful, you end up being successful and drained. And then you start getting maybe over the age of 40 and you're like, gosh, I don't really know if I want to just work until I die. And so that's the downside of being this independent entrepreneur is that first you work yourself out of a job and then you end up working harder as an entrepreneur than you did on your job, but you're happier because you're free, right? You got your freedom to make you feel better. And then maybe your business takes off. You learn strategy and delegation and technology, and it allows you to scale. But then even then you're tired, right? Because you kind of are like, gosh, I don't really know if I want to have to chain myself to a desk every day in order to get things done. So I was kind of working nonstop. And this wasn't bad. I still do it and I still like it, but I don't know if that's the best way for me to spend my time. I kind of want to hang out with my daughter because she had a choir recital yesterday, and I enjoy like doing stuff like that that involves things other than working. So I learned that passive income is more enjoyable than active income because if you build your capital base, you can pursue passive income at a level that gives you as much money as you would if you were out working every day. So you don't have to torture yourself in order to make money. Next, here's the other thing about the stock market that's interesting. So the stock market has been the greatest place on earth to invest. One of the biggest things I'm super proud of right now is the fact that that 58% of all Americans invest in the stock market. In the Black Business School, that number is 92%. Sorry, 91.87%. Let me be more precise. So let's clap for that, because let me just tell you that stock market participation, based on my research, is the number one variable that determines whether you're going to end up rich in this country or if you're going to end up struggling in this country. People that are missing out are really missing out. Really missing out. It's like you're trying to drive the car, but you haven't chosen to put the key in the ignition, or you're trying to drive your car 70 miles down the road, but you keep on getting on a horse. A horse can't go 70 miles an hour like a car. So if you want to go 70 miles an hour, you got to get you a car like everybody else. The stock market is that vehicle that drives people to wealth. The Black Business School students, those of you, I don't care if you have a nickel in your bank account, if you are among that group that has started investing in the stock market, I guarantee that within one generation, your family will have more wealth than 95% of the white people that you know. Right? So this racial wealth gap is largely driven by stock market participation. I put it right there. I put the little cursor right there on August 2009, because that was when a lot of Black folks got nervous and started selling their stock, and they lost trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars, because you see what happened to the market right after that downturn. Everybody got scared when the market went down right there a little bit after 2008, after Obama got elected. But look at what the market did ever since. So if you could have held on, just kind of turned away, held your nose, bought more stock, then boom, you're killing it. You're making an insane amount of money, but you got to see the big picture. You can't get caught up in the small. I'm a big fan of the stock market. In case you haven't noticed, this is the number one key to wealth. But here's the thing. Sometimes you have times like this. That's red. Red is bad. Red means that it's raining outside, basically. It's like financial rain. It's not like making it rain like at the club where you have plenty of money. This is like making it rain like in a bad way. This is like toxic rain, where money is being lost at a massive scale because stocks are going down, major companies are going down. And sometimes this can last, this rain, these financial thunderstorms can last 1, 2, 3, 4 years. So here's the benefit of stock options. What I found that I loved is that stock options allow you to make money even when it rains, right? So even as the value of different stocks were going down, I was still making money by selling my options every week. You know why? Well, because I was selling options to people who thought that the market was going to go up. So the stock is at 60. They buy an option from me where, you know, to buy to them, where that gives them the right to buy it at 65, but the stock never hit 65. So they paid me for that option, and I'm like, okay, sure, I'll take your money, thank you. And then the stock doesn't go up to 65 by the expiration date. The clock runs out. Well, guess what? Then I can go back and sell that option again to somebody else. There's nothing unethical about it. Certainly nothing illegal about it. This is the way the game is played. You bet on something that never actually occurred. I am not a person that needs 10 birds in the bush. I just want one bird in the hand. I just like getting my consistent income and knowing that my money is coming every single week, no matter what. That is the beauty of selling options. You can sell options just like you should sell shares of shoes, or excuse me, sell pairs of shoes, not shares of shoes, pairs of shoes. All right, so that's kind of what happened. So I found that a bird in the hand is better than 10 birds in the bush. You know, so option selling is not for people that are super greedy. It's really for people that just want a consistent income. They want to have some money coming in, some extra cash flow coming in. And so you know, for example, let me just actually stop sharing my screen for a minute, right? So let's say that I was selling options on a company like Ford. I'm going to open up my E-Trade account and kind of give you that example. Okay, so Ford is not necessarily the best company to sell options on. The options premiums are not necessarily the highest that are out there. I'm not particularly ecstatic about about, options on Ford stock. But imagine if I went and I picked Ford. Ford is not even in my portfolio, so for the students that are in the Prime program, I picked the stocks that I like the most. But Ford is just sort of this basic average run-of-the-mill investment, right? So let's go look at Ford, right? So if I was to look at Ford stock, the price of Ford stock right now is, let me see here. The price of Ford stock is $12.85. So everybody, if you got a piece of paper, write down $12.85, right? Now, if I wanted to buy an option right now, or not buy, I'm sorry, sell an option right now, today is the 26th. So let's say I go out to February 3rd, so about a week from now, I could sell an option that gives someone else the right to buy my stock for $13 by February 3rd, but they have to pay me for that option, right? Because if I own the stock myself, I get all that upside. That's all my upside. But if I sell the option at 13 with a strike of 13, that means that they can buy it at 13. I can't. So if the price goes to 16, that's their benefit. I don't get that. I sold that away. But what I did get was I got a bird in the hand. I'm not waiting and hoping that the price goes up because remember, stock prices don't always go up. I own the stock, and yes, you do. You're right, Curleen. You have to buy the stock first, right? So it's like owning a piece of land and renting the land to somebody else. So if I sell this call option for 40 cents a share, and let's say that I put up a little bit of money, let's say I put down let's say I buy 1,000 shares for $13,000. Okay. So I have 1,000 shares. I can sell those shares for 40 cents a share. That means I make $400 a week, or approximately, let's say approximately $1,600 a month on this stock. $1,600 a month. Okay, now I want you to stick that in your mind. That's what I'm making if I own 1,000 shares of Ford. So if me and my family get together, save up $13,000, and we buy 1,000 shares of Ford and sell the options every week, we can make about 40 cents per share, which would go up, which would give us about $400 per week or $1,600 a month in additional income that we did not have before. And that income is ours no matter what the price does. Now, if the price goes up, we make a little bit more money, up to 13, but if it stays the same or goes down, it doesn't matter. We that's our money. Okay. Now, I want to compare this to a real estate investment. Now, somebody give me a price of a house. Let me ask you all this. Give me a yes or no. Do you think that maybe $390,000 is kind of a typical house price? What do you think the average home price in America is about? It's a little over 300,000. Somebody says 799,000, but let's go with $390,000. So we're really going with a cheap house, right? We're not really going with an expensive house, but let's do 390. The reason I'm going to do 390 is because it fits nicely with the mathematics of $13 a share. Okay. So let's say that I invested the same in Ford stock that it would cost me to buy a $390,000 house. Now, to give you a point of comparison, how much rent, let's say I did it as a real estate deal, how much rent do you think I could get on a $390,000 house? Anybody want to guess? What do you think? How much do you think I can get in rent? Okay, $2,800, $2,000, $2,500, $1,200, $3K per month, says Glenn. Okay, $3,000. Okay, so let's go with $3,000. $3,000 a month in rent. Okay, so I want you to write down and remember those two numbers for me. Okay, so I'm paying $390,000 for this home, and I'm getting $3,000 a month in rent. Got it? Everybody with me? Give me a yes in chat if you're following what I'm saying. I don't want to lose anybody. Okay, and I'm doing more. This is what you call arm waving. When I was teaching at Syracuse University, we call this arm waving when you don't actually have it on the screen. But this is something. This is to help me illustrate this point to you. Okay, so $390,000 house will make me $3,000 a month in rent. Pretty good. Nice income flow. Pretty good. All right, great, cool. All right. So now imagine if I took that same opportunity, instead of buying a $390,000 house, I bought some Ford stock. I bought $390,000 worth of Ford stock. So 1,000 shares would be $13,000. 10,000 shares would be $130,000. 30,000 shares would be $390K. You follow me? You follow the logic? So 30,000 times 13 is $390,000. So that's me taking the money from the house and putting it in Ford stock instead, and saying instead of getting money from the house, I'm going to get the money from selling the options on Ford. I'm literally giving you game that will change your life. Okay, so 390. All right. So remember, how much was I able to sell that option for? The one that expires on February 3rd with a strike price of $13. It was 40 cents a share, right? Right. So let's calculate weekly income. 40 cents a share. Let's do the math here. Let's see what 40 cents a share is on 30,000 shares. So I got 30,000 shares of Ford stock, and I am making 40 cents a share. Hold on, let me do the math. Give me a second. Hold up. My calculator. Got to pull my calculator up. All right, so 40 cents a share, 30,000 shares. How much is that per week that I'm making? Glenn says 1,200. Sorry, Glenn, you're zero off. $12,000 a week. How much is that per month? If there's 4 weeks in a month, $48,000 a month. Now, how much were we making when we rented the property out again? I can't remember. What was that tiny little number again? What was it? 3,000? So do you understand why I'm yelling when I say this to you? Do you understand why this gets my heart racing and my blood pumping when I'm talking about this? And let me tell you a secret. Ford is not the best place you can actually generate income from your stock options. Ford is not even in my portfolio because I've got better stocks that are in my portfolio. Do you follow what I'm saying? Do you understand the gravity of what I'm saying? Okay, so I really I really hope you guys will listen to me when I tell you that this is a great way to make money. So let me keep going, guys. Sorry, I'm acting a fool right now. So let me relax and stop being so immature. But honestly, I think immaturity is a little overrated. So this is, somebody said this is major in the chat. Yes, it is major. Yes, it's very major. And here's the other thing too. If I own the property, I got to keep up with all kinds of paperwork. I gotta get property insurance. I gotta deal with tenants and property managers and all these other things that come with real estate. I'm not saying real estate's bad though. I told you I own property. I like real estate largely because I can live in it and enjoy it while I also own it. So I'm not at all saying don't invest in real estate, because on top of that, you shouldn't have all your money in one place anyway. So you spread your money out. But this is how I make my money, because I can make this money sitting at home in the bed. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to talk to another person. I don't have to travel anywhere. I don't have to sign any paperwork. I don't do anything. I can literally get on my phone. Boop, boop, boop. This is what I do every week. Get on the phone, boop, 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 and type in and sell my options. And then I roll back over and cuddle with my beautiful wife and go right back to sleep. That is my Monday morning routine. Let me keep going. Let's keep moving. Let's keep going. I hope you're getting what I'm saying. Give me a yes if you're really feeling and understanding that just how heavy this is. Okay, so here's my process. My process is very simple. It's straightforward, and this is kind of the overview in terms of how I get it done. I find my assets that are going to generate my income. I go through and I scour stocks to see how much income I can make from owning the stocks. I measure the ROI. And so basically I look and I say, how much do I have to invest to own these shares? To sell options on stock, that is what you call a covered call if you own the stock. Now you can do what they call a naked call, but you can't do, most platforms will not let you do naked calls. They will not let you sell something that you don't really own unless you have the cash to back it up. So I buy the stock first and then I sell the calls on the stock. Straightforward play. I measure ROI on the different stock. Then I check the risk levels of the assets to look for any red flags. Okay, is anything wrong? This is the other thing too. Everything that glitters isn't gold. There are some companies out there that look beautiful, that look like they'll make you a ton of money, and they're literally stink bombs waiting to happen. There was one company that I had bought shares in that was making an insane amount of money for me. And in fact, I was so pumped up when I figured out a process for this back in 2020. I didn't tell anybody for 2 years because I told my wife when I was running with her, I said, I've never run into an easier way to make money in my life. This is amazing. And I said, I want to tell my students, but I need to find out, I need to wait for the other shoe to drop. I need to find out the flaws that are in this strategy. So I spent 2 years refining this before I mentioned this to anybody. And so there was so one area where I learned a lot was there was a Chinese company called Tekadu, and I bought shares in Tekadu, and I probably made $100,000 from the ownership of Tekadu just from the options alone. Well, all of a sudden, the Chinese government came in and they shut down the whole industry. It was an online education company. They shut down the entire online education industry. So this stock price went from 31 to 3, just like that. So then I was able to assess and go do the forensics, because of course I'm sad. I'm like, oh my God, look at this, whoa. And I didn't lose a lot of money because I'd already pulled out so much income from the stock already. So it's like I kind of broke even when I thought I was way ahead. It's almost like being in a basketball game where you think you're going to win by 40 points, but you only win by 2, right? But I went back and I studied and I said, okay, what are some ways I could have calibrated that risk and minimized that risk to prepare myself for that type of possible tragedy? So I put together a model, a proprietary model, you call it a Dr. Boyce model, if you will. PhDs, we can do stuff like this that allows you to find the highest income generating stocks while also calibrating and minimizing the risk so that you don't end up freaking out because crazy things happen to the portfolio. So then what I do, once I assess the risk levels and measure the rate of return, I just sell the options. Right? And you go right to the market. You don't know who the buyers are. You just go into the open market. There's a clearinghouse in the middle, and you sell the options to the clearinghouse, and then they buy, somebody else buys them on the other side, and then you end up getting your income, and I put the income in my bank account. And then when I get that money from the bank account, what I do is some of it I'll pull out and I'll pay bills with it. I'll send it to my wife and say, hey, pay the credit card bill, pay the mortgage, whatever. And then a percentage of it I put into my long-term portfolio of long-term stocks that I use so I can make various financial moves. I have several portfolios that do different things for me depending on the situation. And then another component of it, I reinvest into my options portfolio. So if I own 800 shares of a certain stock, then next week I might own 900 shares, which is almost like a landlord that's able to buy more units that he can actually rent out and generate income from. Okay, and I'm able to do this all in my bed while on my cell phone. That literally is my life. I don't talk a lot about my life because it's just kind of weird. I'm a big believer that when you make a lot of money, you shouldn't really talk to a lot of people about it because it's just a strange world we live in. But rather than people getting jealous of the fact that we're able to do this, I'm hoping that people will just listen and learn, and we can all be successful and prosperous. And this is what I do. This is how I make money for my family. Now, this year, Christmas came a little bit early. The students that were in the Prime program, a lot of you got a text message. I text the students when I'm making a certain move or when I find a special stock. And there was a stock called Madrigal Pharmaceuticals. And I sent out a text to you guys in December saying, look, this company, Madrigal Pharmaceuticals, I'm going to make some investments in it. I think it's a pretty good place to make money. And so here's what I'm doing. I don't tell anybody what to do. I just say, here's what I'm doing if you want to pay attention or follow along. And this company literally shot up 262% over the weekend. It literally went from about $65 a share to about $280 a share. One of the students made over $250,000 in a weekend. This is real life. This really happened. If they had not taken the time to invest, then they never would have been in a position to have their lives changed in that way. But because they were investing consistently, this big opportunity came along. Every stock doesn't do this, but some of the stocks do. Some of them are good explosions waiting to happen. So I want to introduce you guys, if you allow me to a program. Some of you might already be in it. It's called the Dr. Boyce Watkins Passive Recurring Income Machine, or Prime. So this is something I created around this very idea. And basically what it is this coaching program in the Black Business School that we put together just for you guys. And it shows you how to generate safe, passive income by selling stock options. So basically I become your financial coach in terms of helping you to find the assets that you may want to look at, to calibrate the appropriate risk, to look out for the potential risk factors and the problems that might occur, and to make sure that you and your family are in a better economic position as a result. Now, here's what you get in the program. Number one, you get access to bi-weekly coaching calls. I gather the Prime students on a regular basis. During those sessions, you can send me questions about certain stocks that you're interested in. I find stocks for you. We talk about the dynamics. We go through option trading strategies. I make sure that you and whoever you bring to class are fully aware of how this market works, what the opportunities are, and how to position yourself properly in this market. Number two, you get access to the Dr. Boyce Watkins Financial Juneteenth Investing Masterclass. So if your goal is to also grow your financial literacy and understand investing, I have an excellent masterclass that I put together on investing that will get you started even if you are a beginner. So even if you've never bought your first share of stock, I can give you everything you need in order to understand how the stock market works and how to position yourself to do well financially. Three, you get access to what Dr. Boyce is buying. These are long-term investments that I put my money into based on the research that I do. So every Monday, or actually Sunday night, is Monday morning, I go and I do research and I find stocks that appear to be undervalued or appear to be have great long-term prospects based on the research I do. And I make a list and I send it out to the students. You have full access to all that material, all that content. Number four, you get access to family investment support group consultations. My wife is an excellent therapist. She's top of the line. She's been treating patients for almost 30 years now. She is a full professor of social work. She's an expert on things like trauma, which affect Black people. And also we've dug in and we created the first ever Black financial therapy department in the Black Business School. There is no HBCU or a predominantly white institution anywhere that I know of that has a Black financial therapy department that specifically focuses on the psychological barriers that keep us from building Black wealth as individuals or as families. A lot of us have a hard time coming together, building wealth because we can't get along with our cousin, or because we're afraid of quitting our job, or we're worried that the stock market's going to go up and down and we don't know how to handle it when it occurs. So a good financial therapist can help you in that goal. We meet regularly. We agree to meet monthly, but we typically meet sometimes as much as 2-3 times a month. So you get free access to that. Also, you get access to a lot of investment club training materials, blueprints, and all kinds of other things we put together specifically for you to help you achieve your goal. And then also, this is a really big one, you get access to Dr. Boyce Moneymakers. So the same way I showed you that the ROI on selling options on Ford is about like 5 to 10-fold of what you would make if you put that money into real estate. Well, Ford is a stock. I told you, Ford is not even in my portfolio because there are stocks that are so much better than Ford. But Ford is a free gift. If you want to go and do it on your own and go with Ford, you can literally do that right now. But there are so many other places that where there's so much wealth there. And the thing is, it kind of changes every single week. The dynamics of the market change. And this is where my PhD comes in. I have an ability to kind of assess market volatility and conditions and various factors across different industries that allow us to pick the stocks that are effective and safe at the same time. So I give every 2 weeks approximately, actually. I don't do this every single, I do this every 2 weeks. I give a list of Dr. Boyce Moneymakers. Also, I send out text alerts to students on new stocks that I'm thinking about adding to my portfolio that week. So you can have access to that. Now, if you add up the value of all these materials, and this is not everything, there's actually a bunch of other stuff that I didn't even mention today because I could keep going all day. You could get about $8,692 per year in terms of what the cost of that would be. Now, if you go back to when I was teaching at Syracuse University, this is the cost that students at Syracuse pay to learn from people like me, $73,845. I felt very guilty about that cost being so high because when I was teaching on the faculty of the finance faculty at Syracuse, most of my students were not Black, and most of my Black students are still in student loan debt. I think that there's a better way, okay? So what we were able to do was create this entire program that I know will not just help you learn economically, but transform your life for $29.99 per year. $29.99 per year. I think that's massive. When we survey our students, 90-something% of you say that you learn more from us than you ever learned in college. I think this is almost like AI, the way AI is changing the game. Well, you know what? Black intelligent institutions are changing the game because there are ways for us to get what we need in a way that's specific to what we're trying to do without having to pay all that money that you paid in college. So the cost of the program is $29.99 per year. Now, the special offer for you guys today is that you can join right now today for $19.99 per year. $19.99 per year. So I want to ask you this question basically, based on what I said. I just showed you an easy example. Ford, this is real data. I pulled this right off my phone. This was not theoretical. This is not me making this up. This is not old information. This was what you could actually buy Ford for right now and sell the options for right now. And you saw that the ROI just kind of murders any other type of investment. So I want to ask you this question. What if this made you an extra $50,000 a year? Would it be worth it? Give me a yes or no. With $29.99 as an investment, remember, in order to build wealth, sometimes you have to make an investment. You thought about that maybe when you went to college. You invested in that. For some of you, it worked out. For some of you, it didn't. Would $29.99 per year as an investment be worth it if you made an extra 50 grand a year? I say yes. If I could invest $3,000 in something and make $50,000 a year, I would do that investment all day. And it's not even $3,000; it's actually $2,000 because we dropped the price by $1,000 a year for those who want to sign up. If it made you an extra $20,000 a year, what if you didn't make that much money? What if you only made $20,000 a year? Would it be worth it? Give me a yes or no. Yes or no. What if it made you an extra $10,000 a year? Would it be worth it? So you invest $19.99, you make $10,000 a year. $10,000 a year is easy. We could do that in our sleep. And we don't just talk to you about how to do it on your own. We talk to you about the process of building a family investment group so that you and your family can pool your resources and then go and make these moves where all of you can eventually quit your jobs. $10,000 a year, would it be worth it? So here's what some of our students are saying. Let me just give you some real feedback from some of our students. This is brother Jamar Robinson that I met at the Generational Wealth Conference. He says, I joined your program a few years ago and you've made me a lot of money. Me and my wife have just bought a house in Chicago and we are living a good life. I was on the plantation working just to get by. Now I have options. And he said options both literally and figuratively, as he and his wife were about to buy a $700,000 house with cash. And I said, were you always doing well? Or did you just start doing well when we started talking? He said, oh, I wasn't doing well when I met you. And now I'm doing well because of you. And that's why I had to go out of my way to thank you. Jamar Robinson is a real person in Chicago. And I hear this from a lot of people. Some of you may already even be in the program that are in the chat. I don't know. But if you are, I hope you'll say something to let people know this is not us sort of, making something up, right? This is something that is actually affecting people's lives. Here's another comment. Taylor Clemens says, I really like when Dr. Boyce showed how to find good stocks and sell options on. He's teaching us about fish and how to fish. And that's the goal. I don't just teach you where the fish are. I teach you how to fish, but I don't just teach you how to fish. I fish for you, right? So I do a lot of these things for you so you can follow right along with me. So it's like a mentorship program. When we found Madrigal Pharmaceuticals, we found it because a student came to me with that stock and I looked it up. And if I see a good investment and I tell you guys that it's good to follow, then I'm going to do it too. Because again, I have a family too, just like you, and I want to make sure that we're investing our money in good ways, in good places. So ultimately, the sharing of information is extremely valuable in this process. So you have these choices. Here are some choices that you can execute. You can take no action at all, and then you're going to end up losing money, right? If you lose $1,000 a month, then you're losing $12,000 a year. If you lose $2,500 a month, then you're losing $30,000 a year. Right? So the list goes on and on and on. Economic potential, the word poor stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly. I think I've proven to you, give me a yes if you agree, I think I've proven to you that this is a massive opportunity, that this market is something that you don't want to overlook. I've shown you how I'm able to make my money without doing any work because of this market. Right. Another option you have is you can figure it out by yourself. You say, you know what, screw this guy. I don't need whatever he's offering or whatever. I can do it myself, and that's fine. The problem is that it might take you 10 years like it did for me and a lot of people. This is not stuff that you just comes to you automatically. I can look at stocks and see certain things. I can see dynamics because I spent 25 years studying this stuff. Right? This was not something I knew when I first started my PhD program. This was something I figured out almost 20 years after I finished my doctorate. And getting a PhD is really, really hard. I was the only Black man on the planet to get a PhD in finance during the year 2002. So this is almost like a surgeon. It's like heart surgery. It's hard to give yourself heart surgery, but maybe if you go to school long enough, you can. And then also, the doctorate kind of helps. And I've also condensed the process to make it very simple for you, right? So we kind of walk through this together, and I make sure you have everything you need, and I make sure you don't miss any opportunities that I'm able to share with the other students. In fact, I even do it all for you. I can dig stuff up for you. So if you want to learn, you can, but if you don't want to learn, you don't have to learn. You can just say, okay, well, what's Dr. Boyce doing? Because I don't have time for this. A lot of you are very busy. And I think that you'll find that this extra income that you would be making the same way you would if you had a rental property or something like that will improve your life. And I want to convince you that this is a good way to go. All right, so let me tell you guys about something, just so you guys can know how great the Black Business School is. Like, we really are an HBCU for the 21st century. Let me tell you about a Net Promoter Score. Now, a Net Promoter Score is kind of a benchmarking tool for customer satisfaction. It's basically just says, how happy are your customers? How much do they actually love being a part of your business, right? And so the Net Promoter Score, it gives you insights about the loyalty of your customers, or their willingness to recommend the business to a friend or to an acquaintance. It's a really important benchmark that's used for major corporations all throughout this country. And you can literally Google any company and look up their Net Promoter Score. So here are some major brands, and I want us to be compared against the best. This is Black excellence. Our goal is 100% Black excellence. My team, that's what we aim for. We want to be the best institution on this planet, and I know that we are already well on our way. So let's look at some major brands out here, and let's look at their Net Promoter Scores, and then I want to compare it to the Net Promoter Score from Black Business School student surveys. So the Net Promoter Score of Microsoft is 40. That's pretty good. 50 is excellent, but 40 is really, really good. The net promoter score of Amazon is 51. That's even better. The net promoter score of Apple is 52. Apple's a major brand worldwide, $3 trillion company, right? Harvard, their net promoter score is 52. That's the net promoter score for Harvard University, right? Now let's look at the net promoter score for the Black Business School. Check it out. Boom. Survey results. Chanel's in the chat. Chanel will tell you in the chat. We didn't buy it. We didn't do anything biased. We didn't play any games. We didn't make it up. Tell me. I mean, I just kind of, not that I'm bragging, but I kind of would hope that we can acknowledge that, take a moment to kind of talk about what we have created. We did this without any government funding, without any major corporate sponsorship, none of that stuff. This is Black owned. This is a Black owned institution that has a net promoter score that far exceeds Harvard University. We're the best at what we do, period. We get results. We're not playing with you. We're not here. We can't sell you a fake degree that's not going to get you opportunities. We have to deliver, and we do. Our team is that good. And I didn't do it by myself. We have a whole team of people that work on your behalf. So I just want to kind of give you that insight to let you know, in case you're kind of on the fence or you're not sure what to do with the Black Business School, we are excellent at what we do, and we're working to get better every day. So let's keep going. So on second thought, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change the offer. And we mentioned $29.99 is the regular price. $19.99 is the special price. For the next 50 people, if you sign up now, you can get in for $869 per year. That is the offer that we will make today. If you sign up right now at drboyceprime.com, drboyceprime.com, I'll give you the password in a second. You can get in for $869 per year. So I hope that I've convinced you to at least take a look and give it a try, think it through. It's drboyceprime.com. Chanel, type that in the chat for anybody that needs it. And you can you'll also receive a 100% money back guarantee. So for the first 30 days, if you're unhappy for any reason, you can email support@theblackbusinessschool.com and not just get a full refund, but if you're not happy, we will give you a $1,000 course, absolutely free. We are that sure that you're going to love it and that it's going to change your life. So how do you get the discount? Let me just show you. Let me throw this in here. So go to drboyceprime.com, and if you want to get the annual offer, put in the code word offer 2023 to get the offer and to get the annual discount. All right. And so this offer expires in 24 hours. And so it's for the first 50 people. So let me show you really quick how to do that if you're interested in signing up with the program now. So I see Weberton is saying, yes, I made money at the program and I did the beta test. Yes. I mean, it's not us making things up. Right. So let me show you drboyceprime.com. I'm going to share the screen and show you exactly how to enter the code to make sure that you can get the discount if you want to be one of the first 50 people. All right. So you go here, right? So this is the page for drboyceprime.com, drboyceprime.com. So here's what you do. Up in the upper right-hand corner, you click Start Making Money Today. Down here, you've got a monthly option for $349, or you got the annual option for $19.99. Now, remember, your annual fee, if you're in the first 50, goes to $869. So you would hit Enroll Now. And once you hit Enroll Now, it'll take you to another page that will allow you to, this is the checkout page. So on the checkout page, you should see, give me 1 second. Sometimes it takes a second to load. Okay, maybe because I'm sharing my screen. So give me 1 second, guys. So once you get to the checkout page, you're going to see, let me stop sharing so I can refresh this page and make sure it comes up. Here we go. Okay, it's up now. All right, so maybe it's because I was sharing, it wasn't coming through. All right, so on this checkout page where it says $29.99 per year, and then you get the discount here, there's already a code in here that gives you the discount, right? So if you're not in the first 50, you'll still get a discount. You'll go to $19.99 because the code's already there for you. But if you're in the first 50, you can hit remove, add this code, add in offer 2023 with a capital O, offer 2023, all one word, and then you hit apply. And when you hit apply, you'll see the price will drop from $29.99 to $869.71 per year. So you go to Dr. Boyce Prime, use that code offer 2023, and if you're in the first 50, you can get the $869 offer. If you're not in the first 50, you still get a discount, but it's $19.99 as opposed to $869, but it's still much cheaper than $29.99. So that's our offer for today. That's literally the whole everything. And so I hope that you see just how this works and how great this can be. And a lot of you, again, a lot of students are already in this chat actually. And so if you are in the chat and you're enjoying the program, I hope that you'll tell others how great this is, because I don't want anybody to think that we're trying to talk them into things. I want to talk you into doing what's best for you. That's what I really want for you. So let me share my slides again one more time in order to mention one more thing for you guys. Now, some of you are asking, is there some sort of a monthly option? Well, if your money's tight and you don't want the annual discount, or you can't take advantage of the annual discount, we did put together a monthly discount. So here's the monthly offer. The monthly offer, the regular price is $3.99 per month. The monthly price is $155. So now 155 times 12 is about $1,800 a year. So it's still it's higher than the $869, but it's still pretty good. So for the next 24 hours, if you go to that page and you go to the bottom and you put in offer 2023 monthly, so put that word monthly at the end with a capital M, you'll get the discount. So what I can do is actually show you how to do that too. So on the page, if you go to drboyceprime.com and you go here to the top where it says start making money, right here on the right, start making money, it'll bring you to the bottom right here. This is a discount price that's offered, but the regular price is $3.99. You can hit enroll now, right? And then on this page, and let's see, sometimes when I share, it loads a little slower than when I don't share. So let me unshare, maybe it'll come up faster that way, the checkout page. Okay, 1 second. Hey, Micah, there we go. I know Micah and Chanel are actually in the chat. They're part of our team. So if you have any questions, you can talk to them as well. So here you see, excuse me, $3.99 per month. You can hit remove and you can hit apply code, offer 2023 monthly with a capital M. Let's see how I spell that right. Hit apply. It drops from $3.99 to $155.61. Now that is available again for the first 50 of you. Okay, so if you would like to take advantage, just go to drboyceprime.com. You can take a look. Now I'm pretty much almost done. So let me just finish up real quick, so I can answer your questions. So I'm sure you have a ton of questions, and I will answer a lot of them for you. I got time. So I already showed you how. So here's one other little bonus. If you sign up now, you can get buy one get one free. So if you have someone, but the person has to live in your house. So if you have someone in your house that you would like to also share your login with, they can actually share your login and you can both join together. And so you can share your login with someone in your house, just like a Netflix account. So feel free to use that option. So don't have two people in the same house sign up. Just one sign up is enough. And that's it. So happy investing. And I wish you guys the very best with that. All right. So let me dig in here. If you have a question, put your question in the Q&A section. Let's see. I see Michael Ruff. How you doing, Michael? Let's see. T from Philly. Good to see you. Let's see. If you have 100 shares of stock when buying options, or you're paying for premiums. I'm new to selling options. Yeah, when you buy options, let's see. Terrence says the code for monthly isn't working. Chanel, can you help Terrence? It just worked for me, so I just put it in there. So if and if it doesn't work, maybe it might be a chance you might not be in the first 50. So that's the only way, because I just did it, and so it worked just now. So maybe Chanel can help you with that. Yeah, so make sure the word try the word offer with all caps. Maybe that'll help. But I know that when I put it in there, I capitalized the O and then did it that way. Let's see. Latanya says, please do a poll. Who's investing consistently? Only invest in 401k. Have a few stocks and then get discouraged. Does not own stock. Yeah, you know what, Latanya? We did do a survey, and what we found was, again, 91% of you are invested in the stock market. In terms of investing consistently, it was a little less, maybe about 52%, something like that. So you are invest. Okay, Darren says offer 2023 did work. Okay, great. Let's see here. If you have a question, put it in the Q&A section. If you put it in the chat, I may miss the question. Let's see here. Let's see. Josette says, I don't have 10,000 to invest in options. That's really okay. I mean, if you, the thing is, one thing we can do in class is we go over some of the stocks that cost less, where you can buy 100 shares for maybe a few $100 as opposed to 1,000 or something like that. And so that allows you to still get in the game without necessarily having to have a lot of capital. Also, the family investment club component of the Prime program is beneficial so that you can actually find some relatives to work together. I've seen families come together and do this and generate a lot of extra income that they didn't have otherwise. So that's something that may be an option for you. How much does it drop down when you put in the code? If you go to the page and you hit the start making money now button, it will take you to the bottom, and you put in the code. Let me show you guys again in case you didn't see it before. So if you hit this here and you go to the top, it says start making money today. You hit this, it takes you down. You hit enroll now, right, to do the annual. And then you got to take out the other code. The other code will give you a discount. If you're not in the first 50, then you will still get a discount. It just won't be the sort of massive discount that we talked about before. But when you go up here, and sometimes when I share, it just takes the page doesn't load right away. So Micah, try to look into that if you could, see if there's a reason why, if it's Zoom that's causing the page a little slow sometimes. But anyway, so you go here, right? And you remove this code here. You hit remove, add code, put offer 2023. So you see how I typed it with a capital O, and 2023 is all one word. Then you hit apply, Make sure you hit apply, and then it gives you the discounted price. You see that? Okay. Now, if you want to do monthly though, you have to hit a different option on that first page. So on that first page, you're going to hit the monthly option, and your code changes. Your code is 2023 monthly as opposed to offer 2023. So if I go to the monthly option, then what I would do is pop in here and hit enroll now, right? So that's the monthly option, right? So I hit the monthly option, and I guess because my computer's sharing resources, it takes a second for the page to load. But so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in offer 2023 monthly, right? And capitalize the O and capitalize the M, okay? But you got to remember, you got to go two different routes if you're going to do monthly versus annual. All right, so let me answer some questions while this thing comes up. Some reason this checkout page sometimes takes a second. Okay, there we go. It's up now. All right, so I remove the old code, I add coupon code, and I type offer 2023 monthly with a capital M, and then I hit apply. Don't forget to hit apply. If you don't hit apply, it won't work, right? Hit apply, you wait for this price to drop, and it drops down to here, okay? So, and this offer is available for the first 50 of you. All right, so, and everybody can get a discount that's here. All right, so Corey, welcome Corey. Corey says, I just enrolled for the year. All right, so congratulations to Corey, and I look forward to seeing you in class. You will be hearing from me via text very, very soon. And Elisa, how does the share work? You can share with anybody that lives in the same house. If you're sharing, across homes, and that we can't allow just for, tech reasons. But if you have somebody in your house that wants to share your login, then that's okay. You can both just have the same login and both be enrolled for one price. Mitt Lewis says I enrolled. Good for you. Congratulations. Debbie, congratulations. Mauricia enrolled. Congratulations, Mauricia. Who else is in here? Gosh, there's so many of you in the chat that are telling me about the fact that you just signed up. So let's see here. In fact, actually, let me go to the page and just kind of welcome you in as one by one. And I'll also answer your questions. I'm not just going to sort of talk about this and bounce out. I'm going to hang out with you guys, and I will answer questions, any questions you have about the program, because obviously the Black Business School, we can't be what we are without your support. And we are building an HBCU for the future. Except it's better because it runs on lighter financial footing, and it's not dependent on the government, not dependent on corporations. So I want to welcome Siobhan Boykin. Welcome. Let's see, Clue 0805. That's your email. Okay. Welcome to you. Zajed Greenwood. Welcome to you. Courtney. Welcome. Leroy Lambert. Welcome. James Pierce. Welcome. Let's see here. Bridget. Welcome. Lounge and Luxury, welcome. Reggie Mays, welcome. Cynthia Cargill, welcome. Tranisha Jordan, welcome. Let's see, I saw another name and I missed it. Janet Bernard, welcome. James Smith, welcome. Sandra Towns, welcome. Thomas Dobson, welcome. Anthony Oakes, welcome. Keldrick Owens, welcome. Malone at att.net, welcome. There's the email address. I don't see the full name, but it's okay. It can be malone59 at att.net. All right, so let me go and answer some of your questions. And then as I see your names, I would definitely welcome you. If I miss your name, please forgive me, but I'll talk to you definitely in class. And I spend a lot of time with the students because I really want you guys to get everything you need. Julius says, in one of your lectures, you said to buy your put options first before selling your options. Can you please demonstrate what the strike price should be in the expiration? You know what, Julius, if you log in, if you go to drboyceprime.com and you log in, you look under Prime Plus lectures. And that's the section where all the recorded lectures are. And I did a bunch of examples of that. And the put options are important because that gives you your insurance that protects you from the possibility that the stock could go down. If the stock goes down too much, then that can cause a little bit of discomfort because you're losing the value of your equity. So I think of selling my stock options like owning a business, where every business that you start, you have to buy insurance on the business. What times and days are classes? We meet typically on Thursdays, at least twice a month, and also I do a lot of pop-up Q&As. Students submit questions to me. You guys have submitted a ton of questions. I answer all of them, and then I send the recording of all the answers to the questions to you to make sure that every single question you have is answered. And also, there is so much stuff there because we record everything. I save everything. So when you go in there, like you log in right now, you will see everything. In fact, a good way to get access to your material if you're doing anything else in the Black Business School is actually, instead of you going to drboyceprime.com, you can also go to theblackbusinessschool.com. And Chanel, if you could type that in the chat so that everybody can see it. If you go to theblackbusinessschool.com, don't forget that THE, then you can actually look under the programs you're enrolled in, and it'll have everything you're enrolled in. We have a great support team that is available. If you email support@theblackbusinessschool.com, they will take good care of you. They will make sure that you're good. Let's see here. How can I get customer service help with enrollment payments? Okay, Kimberly, I think I answered that question just now. 3,000 is more than enough to get into options, but make sure you understand things like time decay and expiration. Yes, we break all that down. That's very important. Welcome, Philip Hudson. I see that you're enrolled. Derek King is enrolled. He says, let's get started. Derek, you can start right now. If you started and let's say that you said, okay, I'm so pumped up, I want to get started tonight. You can log in tonight and have enough material to go through that would last you for the rest of the year. Like that's how much good stuff is there. We have the financial therapy sessions with Dr. Alicia. We have all the stuff on how to get started with stock options, how stock options work, different options trading strategies, all the what Dr. Boyce is buying, all the Dr. Boyce money makers that you can use and implement right away. All kinds of the investment club training, how to form a family investment club so that you can make money together. All this stuff is available to you right now. Tramal says, how much cash do you need to get started off investing after you sign up for the course? Well, let's say you buy 100 shares of a $7 stock. Well, that means that the cost to begin investing will be $700. And let's say that that's still too high. Well, maybe you have a family friend that you can invest with. I invest with my family. I've helped several of my relatives quit their jobs because as a group, we're able to pool our money together and I apply what I know and we invest it and we're able to generate income like that. Now, the thing about options that's interesting too, is that it is options are more of an income-based investment. They're not so much an investment that is based on capital gains or price appreciation, like where you buy a stock at 50 and you wait for the price to go up and you sell it later. So a lot of times, with the strategy, it's more about generating that consistent income. That's really the goal. All right. So by the way, Denise, I see you have a question. If you have a question, put it in the Q&A section if you can. That way I can make sure I get, because the questions are coming through pretty fast in the chat. So I want to get as many as I can. So put it in the Q&A section. If you have any trouble, if the enrollment's causing you any issues, Chanel is in the chat. I think Micah's in there too, and they can definitely help you get set up. Micah, if you're in there, say something. That way I know Micah's in there. I know Micah's around. Let's see. Daryl says, thanks for this info. What do you use bar chart for again? Well, that's one of the tools that we use to identify the stocks that we can sell options on. So there she is. I see Micah in there. Micah is a brilliant, an amazing Black woman that I have the honor of working with. Let's see here. Anita says that it looks like Anita's having some trouble with her enrollment. Chanel, can you help Anita and see what's going on with Anita's enrollment? Because I see a lot of you are enrolling. So it looks to me like most of you aren't having problems. Sometimes what can happen is that if there's a lot of people coming in at once, the system can get a little clogged up. So if it doesn't work right away, you could try again and see, because sometimes things don't, respond as quick as we want to. Let's see here. If the code isn't working, it could be because maybe you're not in that first 50. But remember, everybody gets a discount. So there is the $19.99 discount that's already locked in. And so if you can't get the code to work and you're not in the first 50, that's okay. You still get a discount, right? Everybody gets a prize, no matter who you are for sure. Let's see here. Armando, I see you out of Owensboro, Kentucky. Good to see you. Let's see here. Who else do I see? Let's see. John Gray says, I fund my own IRA. Is it wise to stop funding it to use the money for stocks? My income is the same. I do not recommend, in fact, this is not investment advice, but I'm not a big fan of putting all your money into one type of portfolio. So with the options, I don't tell, the students that I don't put all my money into my stock options portfolio. I spread my money out. And remember, even as I showed you guys how selling options dominates real estate investing in terms of ROI, I still invest in real estate. I still invest in real estate because I like my real estate. I like my house. I can live in it. It's great. I got a man cave where I can watch football games, and it's awesome. I like our house in Atlanta. I like our property in Chicago. And so don't think. And this is important with investing. Don't think that one investment is the place where all your money needs to be. If you put all your money in one place, I hate to say it, but you could be asking for trouble. Don't ask for trouble. Just get your cut, get your share. My goal is not to talk to you guys about investing in a way that is greedy. That's going to have you, sort of hungry to just make all the money you can. This strategy is one that generates the consistent cash flow, the consistent income that a lot of you have been looking for in your investing process. And it's also not just consistent income, it's passive consistent income, right? So that's different, right? Like if you have a job that pays you a lot of money, that's nice, but you still got to work for that money. But this is money without a job. This is just, this is literally something where you build a portfolio up. You can even with our kids, I've even talked to them about giving them some stock and saying, you can just sell options on this stock. The stock belongs to me, but you can generate the income from the stock and live off that. And if you want to work for someone, you can, but you don't have to do it. The website is drboyceprime.com. And if you go to drboyceprime.com, you just go up to the top where it says start making money now, and then go to the bottom, and it'll give you the option of choosing either the annual membership or the monthly membership. And what I'll do is I'll do another example in a second, so you guys can kind of see what the page looks like. And if you have questions, keep putting them in the Q&A section. I got time, so I'm gonna hang out with you guys and answer questions. All right, so if you go here on this page and you hit start making money today, it'll take you to the bottom. You got two choices. You can do monthly or annual. These are the prices, right? So you hit enroll now for annual. Now, if you now I don't know if that top 50 code will still work, but there's a code here already that gets you $1,000 a year off, right? So that's $19.99. I'm good. I think that we've hit the 50 mark for that $879 price, or I think it was $871. But if you want to try it, you hit remove and you type offer 2023 and then hit apply. Make sure you hit apply. And if the code still works for you, it'll change this price down here. And if you want to do monthly, then you would hit the monthly option on that first page, right? And then when you get to that page, then you would use a different code. The code would be offer 2023 monthly, all one word. Okay, so those are the two options that you have for today. All right, so let me see here. Q&A. Let's see. By the way, if you don't work, you won't eat. It's from the Bible verse. That's Thessalonians 3:10. That well-meaning elders often quoted out of context. I didn't know it was in the Bible. Yeah, I don't. That's just not true anymore. I mean, you don't have to work to eat. Welcome to capitalism. But and I'm not trying to convince you to become a capitalist. I'm not really a capitalist myself. Capitalism has a little too much greed in it. But I do believe that if you're going to be in a capitalist society, I think that being economically intelligent allows you to work that capitalism in your favor, and that's what I want for you. How easy is it to sell your shares, says D. Celeste? It's typically pretty easy for stocks that are pretty liquid. Stocks that are not so liquid, it might be a little tougher, but for the most part, that's another benefit of stocks over things like real estate. I'm not saying real estate's bad. I like real estate. But if I sell a house, there's a whole process. I got to call a bank. I got to go find a buyer, do all this other stuff, work with a broker. If I sell stock, I just need to pull out my phone and start punching buttons on an app. That's a pretty cool way to invest. So I like stocks ahead of things like even private equity. I've invested in startups. I invested in one startup called TribeVest. And in this startup, my investment was $75,000. It tripled to $250,000 or something, almost $250,000. And the problem is I can't, if I wanted the money, I couldn't get my money out, right? I have to wait until there's an exit point, until the company gets acquired or some big investor comes in and gives them enough cash flow where I can sell my shares. And that may take years. So stocks are kind of fun because if you look at Madrigal Pharmaceuticals, the investment tripled over the weekend. Not that this happens a lot. It doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes it does. And you could sell, I sold my stock on Monday and I sold it within 8 seconds. So it's pretty cool. Let's see. Carolyn says, I'm new at this, so I don't understand. That's okay, Carolyn. If you hang out with me long enough, you'll be you will literally, if you watch more, I guarantee you this, if you watch more than 5 lectures that I do, you'll be the best investor in your family. And I really want you to own that and be proud of that. And I want you to believe that, because I need you to go back and talk to your loved ones about some of these opportunities that are out there so they can find their way out of the darkness. A lot of them want better opportunities and a better life. And maybe if they see you making money without going to work every day, they're going to want to learn to do what you're doing. And then the trust will build, and then they'll start sort of doing some of these same things. Let's see. Can you clarify what calls and spreads are? Yeah, but the call option is it gives you the right to buy the stock. A put option gives you the right to sell the stock at a certain price. Spreads are basically where you engage in 2 trades at once, so that you're sort of buying and selling at the same time, so that you're it's almost like getting on the freeway and then saying, I want to get off at this exit ramp. I don't want to stay on the freeway. So I buy a call with a certain price, and then I sell a similar call at a different price, and I'm making money between those 2 prices as opposed to making money all the way up, right? So ultimately, these are some of the strategies in the Prime program. If you log in at theblackbusinessschool.com and go to the Prime program, we cover all that stuff in class, all the materials right there. You can dig into it and learn every single thing you need to know. Mizan says, when an order gets filled, does that mean you made a profit, or do you have to sell to lock in gains? You do not have to sell to lock in gains. There's a million ways to lock in your gains without selling. You can do stop loss orders. You can do put options, you do things like that. So don't ever think you have to sell in order to lock in your gains. Let's see, where do I go? Mizan says, where do I do proper fundamentals research? How do I know that I'm doing it correctly? There's a lot of places to do fundamentals research. I think listening to the analysts goes a long way, but you have to listen to it in a certain way. There's a lot of analysts that have different opinions, and you have to know how to kind of sort of gather information. The way my process is I just take in tons of information. I blend it in my head with all the financial stuff that I know, and then I come to a conclusion based on sort of how this information is processed in my subconscious. And then that's where I end up sort of making my personal recommendations to you guys in terms of what I'm doing with my own money. What's the deadline for joining the Prime program in $19.99, and what is the promo code? That deadline is 48 hours, Quentin. So feel free. If you want to do the $19.99 option, you got a couple of days to do that. What is a good dollar amount to start with, says Reginald? It depends on the price of the stock. If the stock is $10 and you need 100 shares in order to sell options, to sell covered calls, so 100 shares times 10 is $1,000. Let's see, Marvin, is this the same program as Introduction to Stock Market Investing? No, it's not. The Stock Market Investing class, Marvin, is focused solely on stock market investing, the fundamentals of how that works, and long-term investing, sort of buy and hold strategies, and the dynamics of that particular market. This program is based specifically on income. Income is the goal. That is the goal. That's what we think about. How do we take the money we have and generate cash flow from the money that we have to invest, period. So I think of it a little bit like a real estate scenario. I think of my stocks as like apartment units that I have, and every unit that I own generates a certain amount of income. So for example, if I have Coinbase stock and I have 1,000 shares of Coinbase stock, like right now I can literally, this is the beauty of having an active market, right? So Coinbase, if I have 1,000 shares of Coinbase stock and I sell options on Coinbase stock each week, then I can generate approximately, I want to say, I don't know, let's say $2 a share on my Coinbase stock. So that would be $2,000 a week, or $100,000 a year that a person could generate on 1,000 shares of Coinbase stock. How much does 1,000 shares of Coinbase stock cost? Well, 1,000 shares of Coinbase stock costs $53,000. So there's $53 a share. You get 1,000 shares. You can generate $2,000 a week by selling the options on Coinbase stock. This is just it's a straightforward play. But what happens is not every stock has an active options market. Not every stock's options pay that well. Also, the stocks that pay well they tend to have risk variables that you want to understand and calibrate, right? So there's some scenarios where a lot of money can be made, but I avoid them like the plague because I don't want to be in a situation where I lose all my capital base. So that's where that calibration piece comes in terms of being careful. So in a way, you can think of it like, let's say somebody told you you can make a lot of money. Like, here you go. I've been watching this show called 1883. Anybody been watching that show? It's a spinoff from Yellowstone, and there's another version called 1923. And it's about these people back in the old Wild West who are trying to go. They're trying to go from Texas to Oregon because they heard that there's money in Oregon. There's free land in Oregon, right? So they heard that there's all these resources out in other places. Like maybe there's gold in the hills over there and free land over there. But the problem is it's very dangerous. It's like you go out there, you got, you have Native Americans trying to kill you because you're out there messing with their land. You got, the elements, the land is trying to kill you because there's nothing to eat. It gets hot, it gets cold, all this other stuff. You got rivers. Crossing the river would get a lot of people killed. So there's a lot of danger, right? So the only people that were willing to kind of do this sort of thing were typically people that were skilled at surviving in the outdoors, right? Or they were with somebody who was skilled because they didn't know what to do. And then also there would be some scenarios where they would say, okay, there's gold over there, but you got to go through those mountains, and you don't want to do that because it's too risky. It's too risky, right? But if you know your way around and you have a guide that can kind of show you, then you can actually find opportunities and possibilities that other people can't get. So my goal is to kind of be one of your guides. That's it. Just want to be your guide, right? I think I can guide you to where the money is, and I can tell you where the risk factors are and where the danger is, so you can be careful as you go into this unsort of venture territory and understand how to generate economic opportunities that don't exist in a lot of other spaces. All right, so let's see here. Let's see. Cedric says, I already have some of the classes. Is there a way I can buy the Prime program without the others? You know what, Cedric? Speak with Chanel. She's in the chat, and she can guide you to support, and they can work with you. If you're already a student and you're already enrolled in various programs, we'll work with you. We'll work with you to adjust, what you're doing, and we have curriculum advisors that can help you get exactly what you want. Our goal is not to charge every penny that we can charge. We generate revenue because we have people we have to pay, and we're building a university. But our goal is not to charge the max that we can charge. We're not like these universities that are charging $100,000, $200,000 a year or for a 4-year degree and all this other stuff. Our goal is to generate the revenue that we need. But at that point, we will work with you and get you exactly what you want. So never hesitate to email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. That's support@theblackbusinessschool.com, Cedric. That's who you can email. All right, Janice says, hey, Dr. Boyce. Paid $1,000 yesterday for Black millionaires tomorrow. Expanded pack to help my children. I think this stock option program will help me provide a future for my children as I'm self-employed and homeschooling. Can you help me switch to this? I've been working with Amani. Please help. Yeah, tell Amani that I said that Dr. Boyce said to work with you and to work out some sort of a deal with you. If you're already in one, then we can work with your budget. So just tell Amani that I said to be flexible and to get you into what you need to be into. Okay. Let's see here. Let's see. We do not have. Someone's asking, do you have the ability to pay 3 payments of $290 for the 869? No, that's the annual deal. That's a pretty major discount. There's a good chance maybe we've hit that 50 mark, so it may not even be available anymore. You can still try it though. You try offer 2023. In fact, I'll put the code back up here for anybody that needs to see it. If you go to drboyceprime.com and go to and put in offer 2023, then you can still try it to see if it's available. Okay, wait, I can't put it on my screen. I lost my slides. But either way though, if you hit annual and put in offer 2023, all one word, you could try it out. And if it doesn't work, there's already a code in there. Just refresh the page and you'll still get the first discount. We don't have a 3 payment layout this time around. We just have the monthly and the annual. All right, let's see here. When does the class meet? We're going to meet next week, Anita, and we're also going to do a Q&A early next week, just kind of an onboarding process for those of you that just signed up. So I'm anticipating Tuesday night. So Chanel, follow up with me and make sure that we set up a class for Tuesday night. I'm going to be in Los Angeles, but I'm going to set that up so we can bring you guys back in and answer questions for you. Let's see here. Terencia is having trouble putting in terms of where to put in the offer. Chanel, can you help Terencia so that she can kind of see where to put her coupon code? And And again, Terentia, I don't know if that discount will still be available because we might have hit that 50 mark, but you can still try. Here, Terentia is where you put in the code. So here, there's already a code, right, that takes it from $29.99 to $19.99. You see, this is the price that's there, right? So if you want to put in the new code, you just hit remove, and you hit add coupon code, and you can put offer 2023, and then you hit apply, right? And if you hit apply, then this price will drop, and then that will be the price that you'll pay to get in. If that does not work, refresh the page and use the discount code that's already there because it's still a pretty good discount. Let's see here. Nate says, is there a way I can see this webinar at a later date? I am at work and barely getting a chance to see the first 35 minutes. Yeah, Chanel, Nate's email address. Actually what I'll do is I'll email the recording out for you guys to watch. So Chanel, please make sure that I get that done. Maurice says, does your course show how to set up apps in E-Trade? Yes, we go through all of that. We've already done it, but we're going to do it again. I repeat myself a lot if necessary for those of you that are new to the system, new to the program. Delisha says, if I want to sell options as well as invest in the stock exchange, what is the best program to purchase? I think Prime covers a lot. Prime covers a lot of stuff. So Prime will get you what you need. The Prime students are kind of the premium students of the Black Business School. So we take good care of you. You kind of, are VIPs and we love you and we want to make sure you're good. So if there's something that's not there that you'd like to see or have access to, we can either give you access directly or at a substantial discount. So it's kind of like a black card for the Black Business School. Let's see here. Barbara's asking a good amount of money to start. It depends on what price the stock is. So a $10 stock would mean you'd have to buy 100 shares. That would be $1,000. But if it's an $80 stock, then 100 shares would cost $8,000. If the money's tight, then I find working with family and groups can be extremely beneficial. And that's how it can work. Now, I want to give a welcome to Terentia and Chanel and Betty Barnett and Adrian Simmons and Flora, Relaford, Craig Key, Karen, Swain, Vicky, Downtano, Walton, Khadijah Rauf, congratulations to you. Vashan Kulan, congratulations. Dustin Nelson, congratulations. Taya 1711, congratulations. Janny Choice, congratulations. Fred Gauthier, congratulations. So let me go back in and answer some more of your questions. Let me see here. And just so you know, the website to join is drboyceprime.com. And if you want to still try to get the annual discount, use the code offer 2023, all caps, and you can get the discount. Okay. So those of you that maybe came in late and aren't sure where to go, just go to drboyceprime.com, PRIME. All right. So let me read more of your questions here. Let's see. Becky says, how do you decide the price per share to sell the stock? There is no specific price per share to sell. You sell stock for 3 reasons, in my view. How about this? I still sell stock for 3 reasons. And welcome, Richard. I see you in there, Richard. I sell stock for either what they call liquidity reasons. I need the money to do something, right? You were going on a trip or something like that. We want to pay the car off. I sell the stock if I find a better investment, right? Like, for example, when I saw that the stock options approach was a great income generator, I sold some stock to invest in stocks that I could sell options on so I could generate income. The third reason I might sell stock is because I just want to diversify, right? So during the pandemic, when stocks were kind of overpriced and the prices were going up, I ended up selling stock to go buy property. Because as I mentioned to you all, the options are a better ROI than real estate, but I will never tell you not to invest in real estate. I believe deeply in the ownership of real estate. So do not think that I'm saying that real estate stinks. I'm just saying that from a cash flow generating perspective, this is better because the money's better and the amount of work is less. And there's a lot less. I'm into the anti-stress. I don't like a lot of stuff to do, to be honest with you. I like stuff that's kind of simple and straightforward. How do you decide the strike point? Well, Becky, if you log in, all that's covered. There's material for all that. The way I would pick a strike price is typically I sell out of the money call options. So if the price is say 70, I pick a strike that's slightly above that. So I can still get a piece of the action, but I'm selling everything above that price. So I might pick a strike of say 73, which means that if the price goes up to 76, I get $3 of that. That's mine. And then the rest goes to the person who buys my stock at 73. How do you decide how long to offer the option? I like weekly because it reminds me of like getting a weekly paycheck, and I pay myself weekly with my options. But you can do monthly. You can go out 6 months. That's another cool thing. Sometimes you can sell long-term options. So if you need a bunch of money at one time and you saved up money, you own a bunch of stock, you can sell 6 months worth of options. Now, mind you, during that time, you can't sell your stock, but you can generate income from your stock options. Let's see here. Next, let's see. Freud says, "What's the code?" I think we already put that in there, Freud. And Chanel can help you with that for sure. The code is offer 2023, all one word, offer 2023. That's how you get the annual discount if you're in the first 50. If you're not in the first 50, there's already a code in there that gives you a discount, not the first 50 discount. And if you want to do monthly, the code is offer 2023 monthly. Offer 2023 monthly. Let's see. DW says, what is the best platform to use? Because I've used Robinhood and lost about $200. I like Robinhood, but I keep my money in different exchanges. I don't put my money in one place. So I like Robinhood. I like E-Trade. I think things like Fidelity and TD Ameritrade are pretty good. So also Acorns and Stash aren't bad either. Let's see here. Dustin, do you have a lot of shares of stock to get premium options prices per share? Do you have to have a lot of shares? No, but the more shares you have, the more money you make, right? So it's like with real estate, the more property you own, the more rent you can charge. But if you own a little bit of property, you can still charge a little bit of rent. You can just kind of build on that. Is Webull a good platform? I haven't used Webull, but I've heard good reviews about it. I don't think you'd be wrong to try Webull out. I don't put all my money on one exchange, so I try to spread it out. Can Canadians join? Yeah, I think Canadians have access to a lot of these same platforms and stuff like that. And money, Canadian money is kind of similar to American money. So it's really the concepts and everything are the same. The main exchange you may be trading on may differ a little bit because you're in another country, but there's still so much you can learn. We have students from Canada. We have students from all over the world, London, all kinds of places. Let's see, when are the classes? The next class will be next Thursday. However, we're going to do a Q&A Tuesday night. Let's see, when selling options, do you have to understand what a delta, theta is, etc.? I do explain all that. You don't have to understand all those things, but it does help. Do we have to understand everything as if we were buying an option? No, you don't. It's a little bit like driving a car, right? You can drive a car without understanding everything there is to know about a car. You don't have to know everything about how a car works or what a combustion engine is or anything like that. But it does help. It helps, right? You're a better driver if you understand the car, but you don't have to know everything in the car. Jamila says, Dr. Watkins, what's the difference between stock options and binary options? Well, stock options basically operate on what you might call a continuum, whereas binary options operate on like a binary or yes or no framework. So think of binary like a light switch. Either it's on or off. So a binary option means either the option's in the money or out of the money. It's not about magnitude or how far in the money it is. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit in the money or deep in the money. It's just binary. It's like a basketball game. It doesn't matter if you won by two points or if you won by 20. All that matters on the win-loss column is that you won, right? So that's kind of the difference with binary options. Lakeisha, my 12-year-old son got stock from Cash App for $2. Should we invest more money in the stocks? If not, what can he do to make money? I would invest consistently, right? On BoyceWatkins.com, there is the $5 a day plan, which is highly recommended for any of you that have children. If you do that consistently, then you can build a ton of wealth for your kids. It's a ton of wealth. So I would personally look into something like that. I think that might be a great way to make sure your child is in good shape long term, and it doesn't take a lot of money right now to kind of do something like that. But the key thing with the $5 a day plan is you can't sell your stock. You got to this is for the kids. This is not for us to take it out because we got to pay a bill or whatever. This is the one thing we sacrifice for our children, and this becomes their big power play. So your child is 28, 30 years old. They've got $200,000 in the bank. They're ready to do amazing things. They have plenty of options in life. What dates and times do the classes meet? We typically meet at 8 o'clock, Barbara, typically on Thursdays. Sometimes we have extra classes, though. We do the financial therapy sessions with Dr. Alicia on Sundays. And also, I text you guys and send stuff out to you all the time. You'll probably get a text from me very soon in the next couple of days. I'm going to send, in fact, you'll get an email from me probably tonight or tomorrow. And then you'll get some text messages as we connect on text, and I'll let you guys know kind of what's going on. And don't forget, if you want to check out the program, if you just came in and you want to take a look, just go to drboyceprime.com. That's drboyceprime.com. If you'd like to get the discount or the first 50, I don't know. I have no idea if we've hit the first 50 or not. I think we might have, but if we haven't, you can use that code OFFER2023, OFFER2023 on the annual, or OFFER2023 monthly on the monthly. And even if you're not in that first group, you still get a massive discount. So feel free to take a look at that. All right. So Troy says he just enrolled. Congratulations. Good for you. He says, will the 26th be the same as every month, or will it start on the first of every month? You know what? We don't meet necessarily just on the first of every month. We meet typically on Thursdays. So I think that's what you might have been asking. I hope I didn't get that question wrong. But if I did get it wrong, forgive me. Just, when you come to class, you can ask that question again. And you guys will hear from me soon. We'll set up another class. Have you heard of Nadex? Asked Jamila. No, I have not. I don't know what Nadex is. Is that a company, or I don't know what Nadex is? Let's see here. Let's see. Nicole says, Chanel, where will the dates and session specifics be posted? If you log in, if you go to the blackbusinessschool.com and you log in and you look under your enrollments, you'll see something called Dr. Boyce Prime Plus Lectures. That's where every lecture is stored. Right? So every single lecture we do, we store it under Prime Plus Lectures. Okay, guys. So I'm gonna go ahead and close us up for tonight. I think we started an hour and 45 minutes ago. I hope that this was a beneficial session for you. I want to congratulate a lot of you that signed up. I'm looking here at some of your names. I see Karen Swain. I see Craig Key and Flora Relaford, Adrian Simmons, Betty Barnett, Chanel. I see Terentia, Quentin, and Vincent. Congratulations. And this offer will be up there. For the next. Wait, hold on. Did I leave the Zoom? I hope I didn't leave the Zoom. There we go. Okay, I thought I hit the wrong button. Sorry, guys. I said, oh gosh, I hope I didn't hit the wrong button. So I'll send you all an email. If you missed this presentation, Chanel, just remind me to make sure I send out an email with the recording so everyone can watch the recording. Everything that we talked about is available for the next 24 hours. Those of you that signed up, congratulations. You will get a message from us very, very soon. We'll get you started right away. There's material in there right now. You can get started right now tonight. And so if you're feeling pumped up, jump right in there. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. And I hope that this was worth your time. And that was the goal. My goal is to change your life every time I talk to you. And I appreciate the fact that you listen to us. And we love you guys. And we are building the best institution on the freaking planet. And we're not going to stop. Can't stop, won't stop. So God bless you guys. Have a good night. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Wait, so so I have to explain to people sometimes, because when you do stuff like this, you meet all different kinds of people that might be interested in for different reasons, and sometimes I meet people that are what I might call like blickety black, and they impose certain ideas toward me, like, okay, that means that white people are never ever allowed anywhere near anything that we're doing. And I'm like, no, I'm not threatened by that. The same way my daughter was born in Jewish hospital. They didn't tell me I couldn't be there because I was black. If I wanted to go to the Notre Dame University, clearly run by the Catholic Church or by people that are Catholic, they don't tell me I can't attend Notre Dame. So I said, we got white people in the Black Business School. Why wouldn't you want to learn from intelligent black people? I think that we should be leading the world. We are the smartest people in the room 9 times out of 10. We are the only people actually that can say that we survived the slave dungeons, the Middle Passage, 250 years of the most brutal slavery known to man, 100 years of Jim Crow, another 40, 50 years of mass incarceration, the war on drugs, and we're also surviving whatever they're doing to us right now. We won't know about that till for another 50 or 60 years. That's when all the FBI files will be released, and we're gonna find out what they're doing. Like, I'm still trying to figure out what happened to hip hop music, how we went from Tribe Called Quest and KRS-One to killed, die, nigga, die. You know, like who did that? Who was responsible for this, right? Because this was, we were not on that committee. This was not something that we decided to do. But I think that you have to be thoughtful about these, what I perceive to be very deliberate efforts to degrade our culture and short circuit us from becoming who we're truly meant to be. Now, first off, I want to say thank you to JJ and her vanilla milkshake. Awesome guy wearing the Black Excellence shirt. I saw that shirt, I said, okay, he's a cool dude. And thank you so much for having me. I'm very honored to be at your event. I have so much respect for what you're doing, and I love the fact that you work together as a couple. That's what my wife and I do. And also, I want to mention that it's interesting. I was watching Asia's brilliant conversation about quantum wealth theory. First of all, I like the title. I said, wow, that's a great title. I wonder what this is about. Because quantum physics and quantum mechanics, if you study that stuff, it's just mind-boggling. You know, Albert Einstein, he used to call it spooky math. I think that's what he called quantum physics, because it didn't make any sense. You know, quantum entanglement and the double slit experiment that she talked about. All that, so I'm a little bit of a nerd. So I was like, okay, let me see what she's got. And then she starts breaking down the brain and behaviors and everything. And I said, I wish my wife was here, because my wife happens to be a therapist and an expert on the subconscious mind. And she is a smart Black woman. I'm very proud of her for that. She reads about 22 books a year. And one book she read 4 times was a book about the subconscious mind. So I listened to her and I talked to her about things. And what these conversations fed into me was this keen understanding that the biggest barrier that we have to building wealth, one of the biggest barriers, it isn't really just access to resources. That's important. That must be discussed. It isn't access to knowledge and information. You literally have an entire university on your cell phone. Right? So it's access to information. You can't say, well, I couldn't get the knowledge, or they kept it from me. No, maybe we could say that 50 years ago. You can't say it now. If you got an iPhone, you can learn anything you want to learn. A lot of it is really culture. A lot of it is culture and habits and the subconscious mind and how we're programmed as children and into adulthood and all these other things. And I said, my gosh, this is really what's going on. America is a beautiful, amazing, extraordinary country in certain areas. There are things that we do better than anybody on earth. And in fact, we are very, very good at industrialization, and that's helped us win wars, right? And by the way, shout out to every veteran in here. Veterans make sacrifices that you mentioned that nobody talks about. Nobody shows respect to that. And I'm going to go on a little tangent. I'm going to circle back, but I got to go on this tangent here because my grandfather served in World War II. And once he was hit in the head with a cannon on a Navy ship, and they thought he was dead. And so they put him in the morgue and zipped his body up. And he literally wakes up and starts pushing, saying, let me out. And he gets let out. And he goes on and marries my grandmother, stays married to her for 70 years and took care of her until the day she died. And then my father went to Vietnam, and he can't talk about it to this day. He talks about being pushed out of the airplane when he didn't want to jump out. They pushed him out of the plane. He talks about sleeping in the ditch and hearing the mortar fire and the bombs going off that night. And what was interesting is that on one hand, the unhealthy coping mechanisms occurred, things like heroin addiction, which affected so many of our men and women that went over to Vietnam. But also what was interesting was there was this really tough, dogged determinism that he developed as well, where he said, when I was in that ditch, I decided I'm going to do whatever I got to do to get home. I'm going to survive this no matter what it takes. So he comes home and and I said, well, how did you get off of heroin? I said, I heard heroin's a hell of a drug. And he said, and literally, he said, I just stopped doing it. I just realized that was not the life I wanted. I didn't want to be a junkie. And I watched him throughout his entire life have that same attitude when it came to accomplishing the goal, right? Figuring out what the mission was. Okay, my family needs me to find a way to make money. I'm going to figure that out. Right. And to some extent, and I think we discount that, right? We discount just our personal power, when we're committed to doing something, we discount the importance of understanding at some point you got to put your excuses to the side and figure out what the assignment is. And this creates a real interesting contradiction or challenge I have, because I have part of my audience. I attract a lot of military folks, a lot of veterans follow me. And I remember I asked a soldier, I said, I respect soldiers, I respect veterans immensely, but why do so many veterans follow me? And what he said, because you give an assignment, you tell us what the mission is, and that's what we understand, and I said, okay, that's it. Yeah. You have a problem, you solve it. Right. But then I've got people that I have to challenge a little bit, who unfortunately were hit by this other culture of almost like a really heavy victim mentality. Not to the point that we haven't gone through things. We know what we've gone through, and we can lay that out on a list, and we should acknowledge all of that. But it's like, that's not supposed to be a crutch, right? We can't let that be a crutch. And so that becomes, that's my story. And that's why, I'll never disrespect a soldier. I think that soldiers are not appreciated. When my father told me about how he came home from Vietnam and people were calling him baby killer and all this stuff, I got mad. I said, I want to go back in time and kick those people in the face. And now that he's got blood cancer and he's sick and he is dying from Agent Orange and things he experienced in the military, we're talking about these things, and these things that is literally what is on my heart right now as I speak to you. So thank you for your service, if you have served, and I wish our country appreciated you as much as they should. I just have to say that. Now circling back to what we were talking about earlier, here's the deal. When you're talking about wealth and economics, you cannot understate the importance of culture. Culture is more important than how many degrees you got. It's more important than how much wealth you have access to per se. Those things matter, but that's not, you don't have to go take a bunch of classes in order to understand building wealth. And let me give you an example. My wife and I went to China, and we were in China for about 3 weeks, and we traveled to different regions of China. And I'm going to tell you one thing that was really interesting. I don't want to stereotype here, but man, they know how to sell a product. Anybody ever been in a space where maybe it was Chinatown or China itself and just seeing how assertive they can be? Like they will hunt you down and chase you down and follow up and upsell you, downsell you, negotiate and barter, whatever they got to do to make that sale. And all throughout the country, when I went to different regions, I would see the similar products, which made me think about the distribution systems. I saw similar sales techniques. I saw similar business models. And I bet you that a very small percentage of all these thousands of entrepreneurs I ran into, a very small percentage of them went to college and studied business. Right? And so this idea that you have to go and get all this knowledge and information to build wealth, run businesses, or whatever the case may be, I think that that's overemphasized a little bit. I think that's important. It's beneficial, but it's not necessary. Culture is everything. So if we talk about culture, and let's talk about that a little bit. I was speaking last night with a great man that everybody should know about by the name of Professor James Small. And Professor Small is an expert on Black history and culture. He talks a lot about Africa and all the things we should know about Africa. And he tells those stories that you'll never learn in school. Because I don't believe that we're ever going to really learn who we truly are from a public school system. I don't think that the public school system is designed to empower anybody, even people who are not Black. In fact, in Chicago, we have 55 public schools where not one single child can read or do math at grade level. In 55 schools. Think about so if there's 2,000 kids in every school, it's over 100,000 kids that cannot, not one child. Right? So this is an issue, and it's not just an issue that affects Black people. There are lots of documented stories and information about why the public school system was designed, what it was supposed to teach you to do. It was designed to manufacture workers. It's one of the reasons that the Rockefellers poured so much money into the public school system, because they said, we don't want people thinking independently. We don't want a bunch of people that want to start businesses. We want people that are going to become cogs in a wheel, that are going to understand their part in this mass production process. So school kind of rewards you for sitting down and shutting up more than it rewards you for being creative and intelligent and taking risks and all these other things that you have to do in order to build wealth. Well, Professor Small was talking about Juneteenth, and we're running up on the Juneteenth holiday. And also my birthday's in a couple of days. It's going to be the 27th anniversary of my 25th birthday. So that's and it's funny. I was born actually on Father's Day, and unfortunately my father was not there to receive me as a gift. I think I'm a pretty nice guy. He should have been there. It was a nice party. But anyway, so one thing he said about Juneteenth that was interesting was, he said that we live under this myth that Juneteenth was this day where the soldiers came down and told the slaves in Galveston that they'd been freed and that they could all go and everybody's good, just going out, head on out the door, life is better now. He said, actually, this is according to Professor Small. I just learned this last night, so I still have to go verify everything, but he's a smart guy. He knows a lot of stuff. He said, actually, that wasn't true. He said that in Juneteenth, when they came down and talked to the slaves, they said, you're not free, but you have a different situation. You are still going to work for the same master. You are required to still stay on the plantation and work for the master. The difference is that he has to compensate you. So you won't be slaves anymore. You'll be employees. Or better yet, you might say they went from being unpaid slaves to being paid slaves. And the amount you will be paid will be determined by the master. So your boss, your master, is going to get to decide how much he wants to pay you. If he wants to pay you a penny a day, then that's what your pay is going to be. And then they created things like vagrant laws, where if you weren't working for your master, if you did not have a job and you were black, you were going to be incarcerated. And when you get incarcerated, they're going to lease you back to the plantation owners so you could work for them. What does that sound like? Anybody know about a system does that sound familiar to y'all at all? Is there any system where we incarcerate people and then sell them to corporations for small amounts of money? I don't know. I can't remember. It starts with a P. I can't. Not OPP. And then he said there was a third group of slaves who said, to hell with that. He said that this is not documented in history. He said there was a third group of slaves that said, well, you're just going to do what you got to do. I'm not going back to that situation at all. We out of here. So if you got to shoot us, if you got to catch us, try to kill us, whatever, catch me if you can, but we out of here. And these were the individuals that went and set up a lot of the very prosperous black towns all across the United States. Like the Black Wall Street. Remember, Tulsa Black Wall Street was just one of hundreds of towns that were set up and one of hundreds that were burned down and destroyed. So the story, it was a systematic kind of issue. And I heard what Professor Small said, and I said, that is so fascinating how that links directly to the world that we live in today. I said, because if you think about it, we kind of have at least three broad categories of people in our community. We have those of us that went to college, went deep in debt, got our student loans, and then went to become slaves in the corporate plantation. We get stuck because we're so deep in debt, like a sharecropper, that you can't ever quit the job. And we're never given any other sort of transferable skills that would allow you to build wealth or create enough of an asset base that you could walk away from that job. That's a lot of us. That's just educated people, right? With the MBAs, BAs, BSs, JDs, PhDs, MDs, whatever other letters behind our name that make us feel like we're better than other people, right? Then you got like the street dudes, right? Some of us got people like that in our family. I got a bunch of them that didn't do all of that, but they out hustling, doing whatever. Well, eventually we know how that ends, right? Because, the music glorifies the drug dealer, but they don't show you what happens when they get locked up and get 50-year prison sentences. And then they become part of the labor lease program, which is, again, just it follows from what they did back at Juneteenth, right? And then you had that third category. You had the third category of people that said, I'm going to be free by any means necessary. And these are the people that I relate to the most. These are the people that I love talking to. These are the people that have the courage and the vision to understand the assignment, who understand what freedom actually looks like, who understand what it really means to be quote unquote successful, who are determined to get there, who are preparing their children for freedom and success. And those are those people that are fighting to get away from the corporate plantation. It doesn't mean, again, I told my daughter, I said, it's okay to work for somebody. I said, but there's a difference between working for somebody because you want to versus working for somebody because you have to. And I said, my job as your father is to make sure you always know the difference and that you always have a choice. I want you to have options. I want you to be happy. Happiness is directly linked to options. They find that, for example, when they did a study on rats and they put rats in a cage and they would hit them with electric shocks. And they had one group of rats that had no options. They had no ability to stop the shocks. They would just go through pain just randomly, and they didn't know where it was coming from or how to change it. And then they had another group of rats that learned that created learned behavior where they gave them an option where you feel the shock, and then if you hit a button, you can make the pain stop. You can make the pain go away. You can stop the shocks. And they found that when they measured serotonin in the brains of these rats, meaning how depressed they were, they found that the rats that were in the cage that were stuck were more depressed than the rats who had options. So if you want to know why so many of our people struggle with anxiety and depression at epic levels, and we die young because of it, as Miss Asia brought up earlier today in her brilliant way, it's a lot of times because we don't have options. We feel stuck. It sucks to be stuck. So when I talk to my 12-year-old and we're talking about all the things she wants to do, she's a singer, dancer, actress. She's just got this love, and she gets up and gives Emmy Award speeches during the Emmys that nobody asked her to create, but she'll come down in her award dress and will literally give us an acceptance speech, and we're like, ain't nobody gave you nothing, girl. What you doing? But that's what she does. That's in her soul. That's who she is. She makes up dance routines and everything else. Every single day she does this. And so I said, okay, you want to be a dancer, an actress, and all these other things. I think that's great. Let's go study some models where you can create that life and still have options. Let's study Tyler Perry. How did Tyler Perry build his own economic empire and eventually buy BET? And I said, because Tyler Perry, he doesn't have to audition to be the star of any movie that he ever makes. No. He doesn't have to audition. He gets to pick who the stars are. If Medea's going to be the star, then Medea's going to be the star. I said, let's study that business model. Let's talk about how the economics will play a part in you having what I think is very important for you, which is options, which is connected to something that I know is important to you, which is happiness. So when we talk about what she wants to do when she grows up, I don't even talk about things like professions, or you want to be a dentist or a lawyer or a doctor. I say, no, I just want you to be happy. And I know we can agree on that. We may not agree on whether or not you should be an attorney or a physician, but we can agree that you want to be happy. So let's talk about how the economics connects to your freedom, which connects to your happiness, which also comes with things like knowledge of self. Some people don't even know what makes them happy. They watch TV and they think that material stuff makes them happy. But that don't make you happy. That gives you a temporary high, a big injection of dopamine that makes you feel like you're happy for a while. I mean, when I got my first job, when I finished college, I was literally the black sheep of my family. I was a complete embarrassment because I was in school till I was 31 years old. And if you know about anything about black families, you know that guy who's still in school at 28, 29 years old, and you're going to get made fun of. So I would go to family reunions, and they wouldn't have anything to say to me all the time. They just kind of say, so you still in school, huh? So I got my first job when I was 31 years old. And as JJ mentioned, she was accurate. I was the only black person on the planet, male or female, to get a PhD in finance that year. It was really, really hard to do. Most difficult thing I ever did in my life, right? And I love it though, because it was difficult, and there was some trauma. There was some abuse. Me and my wife, we bond around the trauma we experienced going through our PhD program. It's the most petty, crazy, ridiculous space ever. But there's the bright side of that these tough experiences make you a tough person. Right. So ultimately, through my therapy journey, which I think JJ was so on point about therapy does wonders for you. I love my therapist. I was supposed to talk to her today, but I'm here, so I can't talk to her. But I've learned how you can actually take these tough experiences and sort of dispose of some of the negative pieces and really use the positives to make you strong. Because if you think about it, every superhero in any Marvel movie, he always has a terrible origin story, he or she. There's always like something horrible they had to go through to gain their superpower. And so when I look at my father, who has a horrible origin story, being pushed out of the airplane in Vietnam, the heroin addiction, getting shot at, he's had to kill people in his life several times. I also see the superhero. I see the man who can't be stopped. When my father decides something's going to happen, it would usually happen. When it came time to provide and protect his family, I didn't see some sniveling man at the dinner table complaining about how the white man won't let him take care of his kids. I saw none of that. I saw a man who showed up in the way he needed to show up for the people that needed him to show up in an appropriate way. I saw that and I modeled that and I love that. Right? So I went through my little version of it. I didn't go through anything like what he went through. But I did go through my own version of sort of this academic mistreatment and everything else. So I got out and I got my first job and I was making a lot of money relative to what I was making before. I went from making about $12,000 a year as a grad student to making $115,000 a year as a faculty member. So the amount of money I made in a year became the amount of money I made in a month. So when I got that first paycheck, you couldn't tell me nothing. I thought I won the lottery. I wanted to do cartwheels down the hallway. You talk about money literally making you happy. It did. That day, money was my happiness. And I felt that way for about 6 months until the dopamine kind of wore off. And then at that point, you get what I would almost call almost like an addiction where you're used to the money now. Now you need the money, but getting the check, you just check to make sure it's the right amount and you put it in your account. You don't think about it anymore. And then you got the rest of your life to deal with. So the thing about material things making people happy is interesting to me because I think we're falsely led to believe that that's what matters. But what we don't understand is that eventually all that sort of jubilation levels off. And then you find yourself dealing with the realities of life. And you start wondering things like, why do children of billionaires commit suicide? Or why, when Deion Sanders was the best player in the NFL, was making more money than anybody else, had all the cars, was going to all the parties, owned a couple of mansions, had access to all the ladies, and yet he was so suicidal that he was going to drive himself off a bridge. How's that happen? Well, it's because happiness is much deeper than just the amount of resources you have in your bank account. See, a lot of times, many of us, because we grew up without access to the things we want. I mean, I can tell all these stories about the projects. My mother was 17 when she gave birth to me. I asked my mother, I said, who was in the hospital with you when I was born? And she said, me and the nurse. That was it. I said, nobody else was there? And I knew my father was out running the streets doing whatever. He eventually went to prison for drugs. I didn't know him that well. I don't even know him well enough to dislike him. I don't even dislike him. And the man, I just never knew him. But nobody else was there. So I visualized this scared 16-year-old girl being pregnant. She gave birth to me when she was 17. And I visualized, first of all, I said, well, thank you for letting me live, because I'm sure it would have been easier to just terminate, right? That's, no judgment, but that's what society says. If you're poor, then your child shouldn't be born. Obviously, I have to disagree with that. As one of the kids that got a chance to be born. And also, I remember that we did live in the projects. So there's really no poverty story a person could tell me that I couldn't relate to on some level. I remember seeing roaches in the house, and it wasn't a big deal to have roaches. And like roaches, you just flick them off your sandwich and keep on eating. You're not going to throw away a good sandwich just because the roach took a little bite. And again, some of y'all may think that's gross. That means y'all ain't never been through nothing. No, I'm playing. You ain't never really been hungry if you don't know what I'm talking about. But seriously. So what happens is that when we grow up in those conditions and we grow up struggling and without the things we want, we just tend to sort of fixate our mind on this idea, this false idea that if I get the right job with the right house and the right car and the right amount of money, that life is just going to be good. And that's just not true. What I compare it to is imagine how you feel when you really have to go to the bathroom. Right? Imagine if I'm an okay speaker, I do my thing, but imagine if I was giving the best speech ever. Like, let's say I was a great speaker like Malcolm X or something. I'm giving the most riveting speech on earth and giving you the knowledge that's going to change your life. But at the same time, you really, really gotta pee. Like you're just going to explode if you don't get to a bathroom. Are you really going to be able to pay attention in that speech? I mean, remember, it's the best speech ever. I'm telling you how to make $1 billion and be a black and powerful. You don't, but you got to pee, right? So at that moment, nothing else matters. You got to get to a bathroom, right? So you just say, gosh, I want to see the speech, but I got to record it for me. And then you hop into the bathroom, and then finally get to the bathroom. You finally get in there, and you're like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Oh, God. Ooh, right? You're happy to finally let it out, right? Okay, so let me ask you. So after you're done and you go wash your hands and everything, hopefully everybody washes their hands. If you don't, you're nasty. What do you do after that? Do you just hang out in the bathroom in case you got to pee again? You maybe spend the day in the bathroom for a while, just because peeing was so enjoyable before. Why not just do it all day? Right? No, what do? You walk out of the bathroom and then you get back to doing things that are more important. Right? And it's not that going to the bathroom wasn't important. It was important based on where you were in your life. You needed a bathroom, so bathrooms were really important. Now you don't need a bathroom anymore, so now other things are more important than that. And so life is kind of the same way. They have something they call Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you don't know about it, you should look it up. And they talk about that. They talk about how your level, where you are vibrationally, where you are in terms of what level of life you're on, that determines what really matters to you. Right. So, for example, when I talk to my daughters, our daughters, I get to be the bonus dad of a son. He's 6'8". So if I told you he was my biological child, you would not believe me. But I love being his bonus dad. He's very smart. And two beautiful daughters. Their mother's gorgeous and their father is a great guy. And we partner together to really make sure these kids are protected and loved. And so with these pretty girls, the best thing I can tell them is not just things about happiness and how money fits into that. But I also say, one of the goals that me, your mother, and your father are going to have for you is to make sure that your financial needs are met well enough. Again, not just because we're giving you things, but because you also understand how to make money, how to preserve money. We want your financial needs to be met well enough so you don't end up in a situation where you got to date a creepy, terrible man just because you can't pay the rent. And in fact, when we were talking earlier about narcissistic abuse, the sister mentioned financial abuse as one method of control that people have over others. And I've seen this a lot. In 2006, I wrote a book called Financial Lovemaking, and I interviewed lots of people, and I was really fascinated by how many people make relationship choices based on economic need. So what I say to them is I want to help you operate at a vibrational frequency high enough where you're not picking a man that's just going to fill a financial void. It's okay to be attracted to men who are successful and wealthy and all that. I believe that some of that's biologically wired. Just like men like women that look a certain way or whatever it is that men like, women have things that they tend to be attracted to. So I think that's okay. Maybe the wealth is a symbol of something innate about that man that's appealing to you. And that's perfectly fine. But I don't want you to feel that you have to go and pick a partner just because daddy didn't help you. Daddy didn't teach you how to pay the bills. Mama, nobody's there for you. So many of our people get abused in relationships because we don't have anybody to turn to. Some of us, many of us in this life, myself included, have gone through abuse, not just relationship abuse, but just societal abuse, because we didn't have anything to lean on. We had no inheritance. We had nobody we could turn to for money. And it might show up as some kid who goes out slinging dope in the street because he needs to make an extra $200 or $300 because he just had a baby and he wants to get what the baby needs. So effectively, when you really think about how important money is in terms of just that ability to have a safe, successful, and content existence, I don't understand why we don't train our children on money from the day that they are born. I see so many of our boys, our children, being trained to be great football players, and 99.9% of them ain't never going to make a nickel playing football. But their parents will spend $1,000 sending their child to football camp. I'm like, that is not an investment. That is fine. I like football. I'm a big football fan. But can't we sort of really think about what should be the priority here? So effectively, when you talk about the use of money as a source of power or abuse or whatever the case may be, and whether money's good or bad, and I loved how Asia put the different beliefs we have about money. Money's the root of all evil. Debt is bad. And that's when I realized she was brilliant. And I said, so she brought up Dave Ramsey, because I brought that up before. Debt ain't always bad. Debt is not always good. Debt is just powerful. Money isn't always bad. Money isn't always good. Money's just powerful. It's like a gun. Is a gun bad or good? Well, it depends on what you need the gun for. If you're protecting somebody, if you're protecting your family, then it's a very good thing. If you're using it to commit a robbery, then it's a bad thing. Fire. Is fire good or bad? Well, fire can cook your food and keep you warm, or it can burn you and your family alive. So fire can be all these things. So money is very powerful. And here's the thing. Here's the problem. Here's what we gotta hack into this and understand this issue is that financial abuse that the sister was talking about in terms of relationships, it doesn't just happen in romantic relationships. It also happens in the relationship that black people have had with this country. See, when we talk about things like this is where I scare or confuse people, because I'll talk about integration and I'll sit here and I'll say, gosh, I don't mind the fact that my neighbors are white, and I don't mind the fact that I can go to shop in any store I want to. I never had any issue with white people, unless you're trying to bully me or control me. When my daughter married a guy from Denmark, he's a really nice guy. I said, well, does he treat you well? Do you love him? Yeah, okay, fine. So I never had that issue with anybody who wasn't black. But what I do think about is I ask ourselves, I say, what did integration actually really do for us that I can really point to in terms of saying, okay, we are clearly better off after integration, right? Okay, let me see. Do we have more wealth than we had before integration? No. Okay. Because we own more land. We owned 100 times more land in 100 years ago than we do, or 20 times more land, or 50 times. It's some number. I got to look it up. But we owned a lot more land before integration than we do now. Do we have more businesses now than we did before integration? No, we don't. We traded our businesses in for student loans and corporate jobs. That's what we did. In fact, we used to own a sports league. We had something called the Negro Leagues. We had the Golden Glory Sweepstakes, which is basically a black NASCAR. We had a lot of stuff. Your ancestors weren't just sitting around waiting for people to save them. They were actually building things and creating things out of necessity. Okay. Are families stronger now than they were before integration? Do we have stronger families, or have we kind of fallen off the rail a little bit? No. 76% of all black kids don't even have a daddy in the house. And we don't even think daddies even are important anymore. We think fathers are just this stupid little accessory that you tack on for convenience. When we would never assume that it's okay for 76% of our children to not have a mother in the house. But why do we think it's so normal for 76% of our kids to not have a father in the house? Maybe we need to process that a little bit. So you can go down the list. Educationally, were we better educated before integration or after? I don't know. Well, we got 55 public schools in Chicago that receive probably billions of dollars in funding that don't have one single child that can read or write or do math at grade level. Nope. So when I think about integration, here's what I see. Here's what I visualize. And JJ, let me know when my time is low, because I don't want to over talk. About 10 more minutes? Is that okay? Okay, I'm going to do 10 more minutes. What I visualize with integration is a marriage, and it's an abusive marriage. And it was a scenario where you formed a partnership where perhaps we were misled into believing that we would be equitable partners in this relationship. We thought we were going to sort of split the power, split the wealth, split the possibility. And that wasn't really the plan. That wasn't the plan. The plan was not to integrate you so you could be equal partners. The plan was to integrate you so that you could become subordinates. The plan was to commodify you. To some extent, black people we're like the KFC chicken that was invited to somebody's house for dinner. So the chicken arrives at the house thinking he's about to eat good, and he don't understand that, no, you are the dinner. We're going to put you in the middle of the plate. And you're like, ooh, we're going to put you in the middle of the table. Ooh, I'm going to be in the middle of the table. I'm getting all the attention, right? And you don't understand. They're going to carve a piece of your butt off and cook you because you are the commodity. So to some extent, what happened with integration is not, again, this is important to understand. Integration was not a bad concept. Just like marriage. Is marriage bad or good? Well, it depends on who you're married to. It depends on the nature of that relationship. So integration in itself was not a bad or a good concept. But in America, where you're dealing with this concept where unfortunately many whites were led to believe that they were superior to black people, and then also simultaneously, it takes two to tango now, you have a lot of black people, even to this day, who sort of have an inherent inferiority belief. We believe that we're supposed to serve somebody else, right? So it's a perfect combination, like the pimp and the hoe, right? Pimps can't pimp everybody. A pimp would not be able to recruit my daughters because they have high self-esteem. They have fathers, strong fathers that support them. They have access to resources, so they wouldn't be good targets for a pimp. They're both beautiful girls. But if you have that little girl out there who doesn't like herself very much, who doesn't have food to eat, who doesn't have anybody that has her back, who maybe doesn't have a lot of knowledge and education, well, then she's going to be a ready target. And pimps can smell this. Predators can smell this. So to some extent in America, remember, capitalism is another one of those things that's very powerful. I don't see it as good or bad. But in America, unfortunately, we are kind of committed to the idea of predatory capitalism. We have a lot of predatory capitalism. I'm not anti-capitalist now. I think capitalism can do wonderful things. But there's some problem with a society that believes that it's okay that workers' wages have been going down while CEO pay has been just skyrocketing through the roof. There's something wrong with a society where the top 1, 2, 3% of the country is allowed to own half the wealth, right? Like there's something wrong with a society where your government is $31 trillion in debt. And it's largely because there are people who believe wealthy people shouldn't have to pay more in taxes. I looked at that. I saw exactly when the U.S. debt started skyrocketing. Around 2000, President Bush pushed forward tax cuts. And he did that because at the time things looked good and there was a government surplus. And right after that happened, 9/11 occurred, which led to the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, which cost several $1 trillion. The big financial crisis of 2007 threw us further in debt because remember, the first thing Obama had to do when he got into office was write a big check for about $700 to $800 billion to bail out the banks. Not to bail out the American people, but we bailed out the banks, we bailed out Wall Street, right? And then a few years later, you have the pandemic. Now, the debt to GDP ratio, which is almost like a debt to income ratio. So think about a debt to income ratio if you're trying to buy a house. So the debt to GDP ratio went from maybe about 50% in the 1960s to being 165% today. So effectively, if you think about it like this. The U.S. government has $31 trillion in debt. Annual tax revenue is about $4.5 to $5 trillion. That's like a person making $45,000 a year being $300,000 in debt. So if you had a friend that was $300,000 in debt, but they were making $45,000 a year, would that person be financially secure? Would you say that that person's in a good financial situation? No, you would not. So that's what your government looks like. So effectively, to some extent, America is a country that has this interesting history where not only do we have the racism, but it sort of bleeds into the capitalism, and the predatory capitalism just kind of says we're going to prey on anybody who's weak, not just because you're black. We don't hate you just because you're black. We might hate you because you're poor or because you're not one of the wealthy and powerful in this country. So what is the solution? What's the best way to kind of look at this? What does this mean? Well, I do have this book. Feel free to take a look at it. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. Now, I wrote this book mainly because it is my firm belief that in order for us to improve our economic condition, we must address the economic culture that exists in our families. We have to stop raising our kids to make them believe that the highest height they can ascend to is to get a nice job with a nice office and then go run off and live in a white neighborhood. That can't do. Now, that's okay if that's what people do. I'm not judging that. What I'm saying, though, is that you have a lot of people, a lot of children that are so smart that they could become the billionaires that fund and create thousands of jobs. They could become the captains of industry, but instead, the little kid is 16 years old and he's good with computers, and somebody, what do they say? Oh, you're going to get you a good job. Hey, that's what they used to say to me. And so here's the thing you got to understand is that if you look at Elon Musk, one of the richest men on the planet, Elon Musk is pretty much just an engineer who also learned how to be an entrepreneur, who took some risks and took his engineering skill and scaled that up into something where he's been able to create over 500,000 jobs, mostly for his community. If you look at the history of Jeff Bezos, another man who's worth over $100 billion who created Amazon, if you look at his history, I've studied these guys because I like to reverse engineer. If you're doing something that's working, I'm going to study that. Well, Jeff Bezos was just a techie kid, like a lot of our kids in our community, who then decided to take a chance to become an entrepreneur. He walked away from a very good, high-paying job. People told him he was stupid for doing this. And he sat in a training class, a free class on how to become a librarian, how to run a bookstore. So he's sitting next to these librarians taking notes on how to run a bookstore. I kid you not. And that is literally the origin of Amazon. So my point is to say this, and this is what we'll end with, is I think we can do so much better. Yes. I believe deeply in the idea that we are just sitting on the secret sauce, that we got the juice. We are everything that we need. We are the trillion-dollar commodity that we've been looking for. I believe the gold is buried right in your backyard, and you ain't got to go down the street, around the block. You ain't got to sell your kids into corporate slavery. You ain't got to go to places where you're not wanted to find opportunity. I believe that you have the ability to manifest realities that are so extraordinary that even you don't understand how amazing they're going to be. But all we need is the confidence and the discipline and the commitment to developing a culture that allows us to fully manifest and create those realities. Take those kids that might want to be great basketball and football players and create an army of black entrepreneurs. Buy stock for your children from the time they're born. And then if you do that, and they will have so much money by the time they're 25 or 30. If you consistently buy them stock from the time they're born, by the time they're 30, they'll have so much money they'll never have to work for anybody. If you don't believe me, go to my website, boycewatkins.com. I have something there called a $5 a day investing plan. I had to create this because I had so many people that were giving me pushback because they've been led to the false belief that black people can't build any wealth, that black people don't have enough money to invest. So I said, okay, well, can black people afford chicken? They said, yeah. I said, absolutely. If I put a Popeye's chicken in the poorest neighborhood in America, in one day there'd be a line out the door, around the corner, down the block, full of people that shouldn't be eating chicken. You know what I'm talking about? So let's pick $5 a day, which you can't even buy a Popeye's chicken value meal for $5. So if a person invests $5 a day consistently in any S&P 500 index fund, Victor Oscar VOO is one that you can pick if you want one, if you want to start that for your child, or SPY, that's another one. If you do $5 a day in any S&P 500 fund as a gift to that newborn baby, by the time the child is 10, they have approximately $21,000. By the time the child is 20, they have approximately $102,000. By the time the child is 30, they have approximately $250,000. By the time they're 40, they have approximately $750,000. At that point, you're not poor anymore. In fact, after the first decade, you're not poor anymore. There's nobody that's liquid that has $20, $30, $40, $50,000 in the bank that could call themselves poor. What does that do? That changes the game. That means they don't have to spend their lives in slavery. That means they don't have to spend their lives doing work they don't want to do. They don't have to spend their lives in places that they're not wanted. They can actually go be free and manifest and live the life they're supposed to live. So let's do that for our kids, and let's make our people great, because that's what we deserve. And I believe it to the core of my heart. Thank you all very much for listening. I appreciate it.
Wonderful day. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent black people, and also the Black Financial Channel. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I am here with an opportunity to speak to a man that I have a lot of respect for. A lot of you all know who this brother is, and if you don't know who the brother is, you're going to find out today, and I guarantee you'll never forget him. His name is Michael V. Roberts. Michael is he's out of St. Louis, and he's known for a lot of things. Among other things, he's run multi-billion-dollar companies. He's done a lot of things around the world. He's deeply connected to work in Ghana and other places, and he's also come to the All Black National Convention. And so, without further ado, I'd like to ask my brother, Dr. Roberts, how you doing today?
Well, I'm great, and it's good to be on the Guru for African Americans show, because you are the person that's giving advice and counsel and leadership, and it's really not just in the United States as well; it's world known. I remember when we were in Ghana together, and your show was being shown from Ghana, and it's all over the world. So, Boyce, I really want to congratulate you and thank you for being who you are on behalf of all of us who watch you. Uh, we appreciate what you stand for. You are probably the most clarion voice for African Americans in today's timeline. So, once again,
Wow.
thank you for having me on.
Well, I'm very humbled by those words, and I appreciate that. And I'll also acknowledge everybody that's in here: Doug and Tony and Anthony and Terry Cobb and those who came in early. Put a B1 in the chat if you're Black First, if you love our community and you want our community to do well. Also, Black First means that we believe in educating our kids. We believe in teaching wealth to our loved ones, and we want to break generational curses. We do not continue them. And I'm going to say this as I humbly accept the kind words from Dr. Roberts, is to say, I'm nothing without my people. I'm nothing without everybody in here supporting us. And so I want to thank everybody out there too. So his compliment to me is a compliment to you all, because I think we're making Black history here. So Dr. Roberts, let me ask you this question. You let's just, I guess, start from the beginning. I was intrigued with your story. I remember when my brother, who's my number one business partner, read about you and your brother. And I remember years ago seeing the article or something. I don't know if it was CNN or somewhere else, and saying that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I guess I want to start there. Like, how does that feel to have been able to do so much with someone who's right in your own family? Does that? I mean, I know it has its ups and downs, but what does that feel like for you in terms of making that sort of success different from, say, if you've gone off and done something on your own?
Well, let me begin by saying that, we have excellent parents, Victor and Dolores Roberts. So we just lost my dad at 99 and a half just a few months ago. And a couple of years before that at 92, my mom, and they've been married 75 years. So that would immediately sort of indicate that there was a certain stability in our household as a result of our parents looking out for us, making sure that we're doing the right thing, getting us properly educated. Steve and I, my brother and I, both went to law school. We both came out of law school, and within a year or two were elected to our Board of Aldermen or City Council in St. Louis. I served 8 years. Steve served 12. So our commitment to the community was through the political activities. And by the way, I mean, when I graduated from law school, I moved 2 blocks from the projects in St. Louis, the Blue Line projects, where I was, learning an awful lot about the challenges that people face. As an alderman, you're almost like a junior mayor. So no matter whether it's a drug issue that's going into a community we have to somehow seed out, or even if it's, problems that are domestic in nature, sometimes, you are asked to step in and give advice and counsel and give direction. Well, at the same time, I was looking at our neighborhoods, and we saw that so many of our wonderful homes were being left vacant. The very homes that parents had worked day and night, extra hours in order to pass on as their legacy for their children. But our children were so busy trying to run to the suburbs and get away from the neighborhood that the properties were going to seed. And so I looked at those and I started to invest in my own neighborhoods and realized that at some point in the future, property on the inner city will become extremely valuable. And it's they say there's gold in dim their streets, as we said. And sure enough, many years later, the regentrification of a community is clearly showing that white folks are coming back into the Black neighborhoods that were Black at one point and taking those homes and developing them. So to do my part, and my brother and I decided we would start there. We moved on to build, and we bought an old Sears building in North St. Louis. In the 80s, Sears was moving out of neighborhoods as they became more Black, and many cities have big boarded up monoliths to drug trafficking and crime. We didn't want that to happen. We were just born 2 blocks from this building. We acquired it. We developed it out. We held it for nearly 40 years and recently sold it to the St. Louis Regional Urban League, who've now taken it and advanced it into a tremendous facility. And we're talking 200,000 square foot building that's now offering even more services. Now, we had 50 or 60 tenants, but now with the Urban League, we have it as a adaptable reuse, both for purposes relating to retail. We had a dentist, we had an optometrist at one time, and a variety of different. It was really a mixed bag of businesses that we negotiated into the facility. And today it's great. Across the street, we acquired the balance of the land, and we built a 42,000 square foot strip shopping center. It was our first of a few. And then I found myself being elected as the first Black on the International Council of Shopping Centers, which is all the shopping centers, the developers, the tenants in the world that relate to that type of business. It was a great experience and one that I was able to give back in a variety of ways. We then decided we would go down into the downtown area. We bought our first hotel after having built a few TV stations. We ultimately owned 12 full-power TV stations, the largest Black-owned group of TV stations in history. Sold some of them, started buying hotels. We ended up with 12 hotels around the country, sold some of them. We built a wireless phone company. We're probably I'm sure we're the only Blacks who've ever built and owned and operated a true telephone company. It was at the time when digital phones were coming into play. Back before that, you probably remember Boyce, the coolest guy in the movie, had a briefcase with a phone in it, and it was an analog phone, so it was that snap, crackle, drop type phone. And now, moving into the digital, by being sort of a futurist, which I'm considered to be, I always jumped ahead of where we were and put our business into a location that was going to embrace by the future. And true enough, analog phones became the standard. Now everybody has one. In fact, I was joking on the interview the other day. I said, how many people get paranoid if they're more than 4 feet away from their phone? It's like an appendage to your body. And yet it's a entrepreneurial venture. We took that company public and then ultimately sold it to Sprint. Began some investments in the Bahamas, where I'm the largest African American developer in the New Providence or Nassau area, which is again, just one more pleasure. And now I'm looking at opportunities in Africa. But saying all of that, setting an example for young and emerging entrepreneurs, as well as seniors who are now free of children with more money and better education they've ever had, that they need to go after their dreams, which they still have. And if you have a dream, the first thing you have to do is you have to wake up. And then you have to sit up and you have to stand up, and then you to prosecute your dreams, go after those dreams. And this is what I'm hoping that as people read my 2 business books, Action Has No Season and Action Has No Season 2.0, that they'll see that, a kid from, in this case, North St. Louis, we weren't rich, we weren't poor, we just never had any money, could, build a company that, as you said, CNN once declared it to have a valuation of close to $1 billion. And we built it from scratch.
Interesting. So, and everybody who just came in, I was speaking with Michael V. Roberts, who is an entrepreneur. He's the author of a couple of books, actually. Action Has No Season and Action Has No Season 2.0. So I encourage you guys to go look for those books. And also, as you come in, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. I'd be curious to ask you this, Dr. Roberts. So, as you know, public schools and universities don't teach people to become millionaires or billionaires. They just, that's not in the curriculum. everybody can't do it. That seems to require a specialized education that goes beyond just what you learn in school. Now I know you went to school, you went to law school, and I'm sure you did very well. But what would you say to, say, a 19-year-old who is trying to become just like you, who says, okay, in 20, 30 years down the line, whatever it is, I want to be able to say I own hotels, I own cell phone companies, I've started, you bought a lot of property, you've done a lot of real estate work. What kind of education would they get to be able to do those things?
Well, the first thing I would say to them is, although the brick and mortar business model continues to exist because people need places to eat, to shop to some degree, even though Amazon is making that more and more difficult for stores to function. Let's face it, there's an emerging world of technology. It's the new revolution. And in that, there are areas that I'm hoping we'll see more of our HBCUs tackle, and that is areas involving artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, the metaverse. Um, I think that cybersecurity is something that will touch, all businesses when it's all said and done. And there needs to be experts and business people who can come in and advise and counsel in these areas. We're going to see autonomous cars, meaning that they'll be driverless. Imagine one day you're going to have a child who's going to school. You're going to put that child in an autonomous vehicle, a driverless vehicle, who will take them to school, but only the teacher would have the code to open the door and let them out. Uh, the future is amazing. Over the next 10 years, and I ask this when I go out and speak to presidents of our HBCUs, our Black colleges and universities. I have a group called the RIG, Roberts Innovation Group. We meet every Thursday morning. And each of the subject matters I just described is an expert. For example, there's a great expert in drone technology. And what we did last summer was go into Mississippi, where one of our members of the RIG group had an elementary school grant. And we actually went in and taught how to operate drones. We went in with money management. Yes, of course. Why can't a 7 or 8 or 10-year-old learn at that age money management? That's the starting point, isn't it? And we also had esports, which is one of the great emerging businesses that a 14-year-old can make $100,000, playing in just a few games. But are these areas being explored throughout the inner city areas? And I'm hoping that part of our mission of the RIG mission is to get out and expose these types of emerging businesses that will take place. And I will add that if, for example, your job is repetitive in nature, you will not have that job within the next 7 to 10 years. What do I mean? Anything that's repetitive in nature, a robot can handle. It'll be cheaper and easier. But somebody has to repair those robots. Somebody has to be able to operate them in many ways and build them, of course. So even though we may see, 8 or 10 million jobs going south as a result of technology, I project we'll probably have close to 60 million new jobs that will be created as a result of technology. Well, are we being educated? And it's, again, I'll ask the dean of a school or the president of a school, where do you think people will be spending money 10 years from now? How will they be spending it? And what currency will they be using? Will they be using cryptocurrency as a predominant global form of currency? And if that's the case, do we understand it? Are we investing in it? What are the considerations? So we have a lot of emerging businesses, and this is a very dynamic time for folks to explore their own dreams and their ideas and their aspirations. So this is what I'd like to see. I'm sorry. Yes.
No, I was going to say that what you said makes sense. I used a really important word a second ago. Or you used a lot of important words, but one that popped out is invest. What I see as far as a pattern in your life and in the lives of many people I know who were able to win this economic game is that ability to see the future and to invest in the future right now, right? To plant your seed right now so that when the harvest comes, you're ready to collect. And a lot of us do the opposite. A lot of us follow the trends. We follow the crowd. We wait until something becomes hot and trendy and interesting, and then we want to invest in it. Well, by that time, it's too late. Like the stock market. The best time to invest in the stock market is now, not when the market's going up. You invest while it's going down, and then you catch the wave going up. And I think a lot of people don't get that. And I'd be curious to know, you talked about, for example, the HBCUs, training young people to be able to take those positions as they become available, which is important. And that's a type of investment. But what about also just, owning the companies that are going to be making these moves? I found that that you have a lot of really well-trained people that went to universities and made straight A's that don't have the first clue of what it means to really be a business owner and all those soft skills and hard skills that are necessary to operate at that level, to play above the rim, so to speak. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that you're spot on, but I also recognize that everybody's not an entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just are not ready to handle the risks of an entrepreneur, and yet everyone has a dream of an idea. So I like to tell people that really you need to fulfill your dreams. In fact, in my book, Action Has No Season, I coined the word the actionaire. And the actionaire is one who takes their dreams, their ideas, their vision, and their passion, and they pursue them with courage and confidence and bravado. And I just tell folks, if you can eliminate the fear of failure, you'll probably find yourself in a very interesting and new space in life. And when I say that, let's break it down into two words. The first word is fear. Fear is just a mental construct. It's not of nature. You weren't born with it. It's something that you allowed to enter your psyche. And if you've allowed it to enter in, can't you potentially have it discarded at the same time? Second word, failure. I submit to you, there's no such thing as a failure. You might ask why. Well, every day when you wake up, you're given 86,400 seconds. That's 24 hours. This is kind of an existential approach. But every moment that exists, you either use it or you lose it. And if you are a person who recognizes the importance of trying and making a move, yes, perhaps a marriage doesn't work out, perhaps a business doesn't work out. Is it really a failure, or did you learn from the experience? Was it nothing more than an experience that wasn't as you would have liked the outcome to be? Or was it, therefore, an experience that you learned and grew from? So I like to have people eliminate the whole word failure from their vocabulary. I want you to feel that by taking a risk and going out and giving it a go, that you will learn from it and you will be a better person as a result of it. And so therefore don't lay back and wallow in some kind of I wish I hadn't done it attitude. More so look at it more objectively and say, okay, I get it. I didn't do it right this way, or I could have done it slightly different. Let's analyze it. Let's move on. And that's what I've done. Because frankly, there's many businesses that I've done hundreds, and I've employed close to 11,000 people. 99% were Black, by the way. And there are many businesses that didn't have the outcome that I wanted. So it's not like everything you touch turns to gold. No, I mean, some of it turns to, a flat product that you don't even want to smell or touch. So it happens. That's the reality of life. That's the world that we live in. But if you're going to be in this America, if you lived in a socialist nation, you'd call yourself a socialist. If you lived in a communist nation, you'd call yourself a communist. But we live in a capitalist nation, and therefore we're capitalist. And a lot of times, I've run into brothers and sisters who don't like that word because they think it relates to slavery, and that's not the case. Slavery was slavery. That was a completely different time and space. Capitalism is pretty simple. Boyce, you have a widget that you're trying to sell. I have a widget I'm trying to sell, and you and I are going at it trying to sell it to the third party. Whoever wins, you win. That's capitalism. But mind you, capitalism in our community, in our day and time, there must be a word added to it, and that is social capitalism, so that you're able to actually create and have a social consciousness. Because frankly, people are out here trying to help people, but you know what? When you're broke, you can't do much. You're better off, making yourself a strong capitalist stand and making money in business, and then having that with a degree of understanding that you need to give back to the community and provide advice, counsel, and resources and treasure that goes back into helping others and pull them along with you.
Well, I certainly hear that, and I agree with you. And by the way, everybody, I want you to know I'm speaking with Michael V. Roberts. Michael V. Roberts is an extraordinary businessman. He's the author of two important books everyone should read: "Action Has No Season" and "Action Has No Season 2.0." And as you come in, if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, Michael is going to join us at this year's All Black National Convention, which is going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina, October 28th through the 30th. And so if you are into all the things that we talk about on this platform, the convention is a space for you. We're going to cover every single thing from specialized groups on crypto to relationships to stock market investing to politics, every single thing. And it's a great place to network and have a lot of fun. You can bring your children. We have a whole track to educate kids. So if you're interested, just go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. All right. So let me jump into what you're saying there. It seems to me, Dr. Roberts, that one thing that's important for our people to get is that the revolution needs to be financed. That you can't sort of say fight the power, on one hand, and then not have an economic plan, with the other. If you have no economic plan, it seems that you're submitting yourself to the to the will of the people that actually control the resources. So that ability to access those resources and use them toward a productive purpose is an important part of just sort of not just being Black in America, but for any human being, particularly in a capitalist society. Is that kind of what you're saying?
I'm saying that exactly. And sometimes I use an old kind of fairy tale story. I don't know if you remember the story of Rip Van Winkle. Rip Van Winkle was a guy who drank some rum and ended up in the Catskills, and he fell asleep for 20 years. When he finished, he came back down into the village, and he saw the tavern, and it said George's Tavern. So he walks into the tavern, and he lifts his glass and says, "Long live King George." Well, he was immediately arrested for treason, because the George that the tavern was referring to was George Washington. He had slept through a revolution.
Wow.
And so I want us not to be Rip Van Winkles. I don't want us to sleep through this technology revolution that's taking place. It's pregnant with business opportunities, and almost anything that is traditional. I mean, look, we're seeing it all over the place. Automobiles are going to go straight to electric automobiles at some point. In California, I think it's within the next 5 or 10 years that only electric cars can be sold. So there's all types of questions that surrounds that. in terms of business opportunities. Now, folks are busy creating a lot of changes. Let's talk about healthcare, for example. When somebody dies, usually you pass because one of your organs uh, breaks down and fails to function. Well, with 3D printing and an understanding of your DNA, uh, your cellular makeup, a 3D printer can reproduce that organ. And in the future, it'll be a take this one out, plug this one in. And people will live probably well into their 150s, 140s. That's my futuristic opinion. Now, that means that there's still going to be a need for housing, food, uh, a lot of the basics that folks are going to have, entertainment, recreation. Those are still businesses that are going to exist. But at the same time, I see this emerging concept that I call the Robo sapien. You've got the Homo sapien. This is going to be a Robo sapien, and that's similar to uh, the concept that they're going to be types of chips that's going to have the type of data that's going to provide you with infinite knowledge, and that chip might be the size of a grain of salt. I'm sorry, a grain of rice, and it can be placed in your brain, and then you'll have this data that's going to be similar to the data that you have in your cell phone, and everybody has one. You know how it's almost infinite data. Well, imagine being able to have that in your own brain. Now, high, back in the day, those were called cyborgs, and maybe they still will be. But the question is, will we become a different kind of species, a robo sapien? And when that happens, what's going to be the case when you have this interesting capability in your brain, and suddenly a brain hacker comes along and controls you in some kind of strange and weird way. Well, I hope what I'm doing now is I'm disrupting everyone's mind and life. Because without a form of disruption, we continue to do the same things over and over. And that's not going to be how we will be able to survive and become good capitalists and entrepreneurs in the future. We have to look at the good, the bad, and the ugly, and then we have to figure out where will we fit in. Now, I had a great example. I was speaking to a group the other day, and I was talking about how I can hand my 2 or 3 year old grandson my phone, and he can show me how to operate it within moments. Young people are so capable. So one young man stood up and said, "Yeah, well, my niece, I was trying to get Netflix on, and I just couldn't figure it out. So his 5-year-old niece grabbed the phone, pushed a button, and said, 'Turn on Netflix,' and it came on." And I think everybody who's watching knows that these young kids live in front of their iPads and their phones, and they have sporting games. Esports is going to be so popular one day. I predict that esports will be an Olympic sport. It'll also be involved in gamification, and you'll probably see it at casinos. Caesars will have its team, and others will bring in their teams. People like, I understand, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and some of the high-end rappers all have esports teams. When I see parents trying to restrict the creativity of a baby, it bothers me, because a baby explores and touches, and you want to keep them safe, but at the same time you don't want to block them trying to learn and be creative in their own ways, because that becomes a tool that will move them into adulthood and put them in a very interesting position to be successful in this world of technology that's emerging.
Wow. Well, you know what? I'll tell you, it's interesting talking to you because I think it always makes me think about whether or not, or various ways that we as a community can really get ahead of the curve in terms of building a better black man, building a better black woman.
Mhm.
Um, I've never, I'll admit, I've never been really excited about the idea of trying to achieve equality with anybody. I
Right.
want to win. You know, I want to
Exactly.
see us way ahead. You know, I don't think the Chinese government is trying to be equal to the Americans. They're trying to compete.
That's
And
right.
so, you know, so when I look at a guy like yourself, and I met your son, he's such an intelligent young man, and I have so much respect for your family.
Thank
What
you.
it says to me is that the blueprint is out there. We've got the blueprints. We've got these blueprints everywhere. And one of the reasons why I'm really happy that you joined me today is because it seems to me that um, until we gain control of various systems, whether it's media or education, where we're deciding which blueprints are being presented to the masses, that we're going to always have this problem where where it's harder for me to turn on TV and see Michael V. Roberts than it is for me to see maybe a rapper who is literally creating his own deathbed right in front of us. You
Mhm.
know, there's a lot of there's this interest in just this crazy fork in the life of a black man, where on one hand you've got the men where you see them and you say, way to go, this is great, good job, brother, great family, great situation. And then you got the other stuff, you know, and I'm not putting down anybody with this, but I really think it's I don't think it's an accident that we seem to see a lot of the other stuff. But
Right.
when I tell them about a Michael V. Roberts, they're like, "Oh, that doesn't exist. That's not what black men do." How does that feel for you? How was that for you and your brother? You know, to be given such an extraordinary upbringing where you were raised to be intelligent and accountable and all these other things that you have. You know, when you're kind of surrounded by people who maybe weren't raised the same way, what was that like for you?
Well, it's a good question. It puts you into a immediate teaching mindset because you can either walk away and just ignore. Of course, and there are some people you better off just doing that with, or you can reach out and help uh, change the mindset so that they understand, subjects like I wrote in my book, how to handle a predicament. Uh, it's you can't reach everybody, but I feel that everybody has a book inside of them, and they should write it because they have stories that they should be able to share with their family and others. And I really believe we have to leave a legacy that does that. Now, I will tell you that regardless of all the money we've made and all the businesses we've built, uh, all four of my kids went to college and law school. Same with my brother. Uh, his two sons went to law school. One is now a state senator in Missouri, uh, and his daughter got a master's degree. Uh, so I always tell people, don't judge us on the millions or hundreds of millions we may have made, but judge us on how we raised our babies.
Mm.
And are our kids committed to the community as our kids are to be able to give back so that we can be able to create generational wealth that's sustainable. Because too frequently, if you have generational wealth, after about the second or third generation, it dissipates. So it's also how do you raise your children to value the importance, yes, of course, of education, but they value the importance of a dollar. And how does that work? And how do you understand saving as well as investing? And is investing really a form of saving? Well, the answer is yes, it is. So you come with all of the. There's no do-it-yourself kit certainly, but I like the idea of being able to set myself out. My brother does the same thing. My kids are doing the same thing as examples.
Mm. What?
Because like I told you, for 10 years, I lived 2 blocks from the projects. So as I tell people all the time, boys, don't let the light skin fool you. I got plenty of street cred.
Well,
Yeah,
I got a light skinned wife who also goes through that, that perception of light skin privilege, and they don't know she grew up in Gary, Indiana. At the time she was there, it was the
right.
murder capital of the United States. And so it's kind of hilarious that somehow we think that light skin, means more than what it doesn't mean anything.
Right.
So I got a light skinned father who has actually killed people. So it's kind of a funny thing.
There you go. Interesting.
Well, I'll tell you, I know you're a busy man, I'll ask you one more question, then let you go. But I'll say this, everybody, if you could say something in the chat, give a digital thank you to this brother for the great work that he's doing, the great example that he's setting, and the great lessons that we can learn. I want to just tell everybody, these are your teachers. You don't need to go to school to get your teachers. Your teachers are right here in the community. And these are the people that I look to. I look to yourself, other guys that I just respect so much. George C. Frazier, you and I both know George and love him to death, and or love him to life, and just quite a few others. Dr. Claude Anderson, Kenny Gamble, Minister Farrakhan. I've sat with him a few times, and it's one of those things where, for me, as a black man, I always felt like I needed to look around and find pieces of people that could help me build the kind of man that I wanted to be. I would turn on the TV and I didn't see, I'd see stuff and I'd say, no, I don't want to do that because I'll end up dead. If I do that, I'll end up in prison.
Right.
I don't want these babies' mamas. I want to have a good life. I don't want to be stressed out. And so I hope everybody watching, will give me a verbal confirmation in the chat that you'll share this interview and introduce your children to people like Michael V. Roberts. And I hope you'll allow me to just say this, Dr. Roberts, because I really, I'm feeling passionate about this. This is Black history. This is your Black history. Your Black history is not the stuff they teach you in school. Sure, we know about the historical figures and all that, but you need to pick your own heroes. And these are the people that you need to bring to your children. And in fact, I might get beat up for even saying this, but back in the day before Dr. Ben Carson became the political figure that he is now, my mother knew him as this extraordinary surgeon who was making history with the work he was doing. And my mother used to tell me stories about Dr. Carson when I was a kid, because he was born to a young single mother like me. Me and my mother were born in the projects. She was 16 years old. She got pregnant. She did marry my stepfather, about 4 years later, but still, and what it did was it made me say, okay, this is where I want to go. Education is the key. That's how, hard work, success, accountability, all these things. So again, I know the politics of Dr. Carson have kind of confused things, and we can debate that, but I really think as a community, we have to pick our heroes, latch on to them, and then take it upon ourselves to promote these individuals to our children. Like your public school will probably never teach you about Marcus Garvey. They'll never teach you about A.G. Gaston. They'll never teach you about Michael V. Roberts, but that's okay because that's our job. So Dr. Roberts, I'll give the floor to you for the last question. So what's next? Tell me about, okay, so you come into the convention. Everybody watching, if you come to the All Black National Convention, you can meet Dr. Roberts right up close and personal. He's a cool guy. He'll be around. You can shake his hand. You can talk to him and everything else. Tell me about some of the work you're doing, particularly in Ghana. You and I went to Ghana a couple of years right before the pandemic. It was a transformative experience. What's sort of next for you? Maybe you can start in Ghana if you want to.
Well, let me just say, I was with a number of kings last night, where I received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, and with me, who also received that from President Biden, was George Frazier, who, of course, you just named, and my dear friends, the Minister Louis Farrakhan, who's stayed at my house in the Bahamas, I've dined at his home. I was one of the largest organizers in St. Louis for the Million Man March. So notwithstanding, being able to take 3 companies public, or being involved with taking 3 companies public, uh, ringing the bell at Wall Street that people see people ring every morning. I was there, my brother and I, when we were involved with one of the companies that we took public. Uh, so there's nothing wrong with being able to have this expansive life concept. I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity, where I would receive the highest award that could be given by a fraternity to a brother, the Laurel Wreath. I'm a 33rd degree Mason. Uh, my point is, there's a variety of things that we can be diverse. You see, and so as you look at reaching across the pond to our motherland of Africa, uh, we got to recognize that it is the wealthiest continent on the face of the earth, and yet it's the poorest. Uh, and that's because, the materials, the valuables, the gold, the diamonds, the bauxite, the cocoa that's going all over the world is coming from Africa.
Hmm.
If you look at cocoa, for example, there's about $5 billion worth of cocoa that leaves Africa, mostly the Congo, and yet it's $100 billion business, but only 5 stays in Africa. So what does that say? That tells you that maybe what we need to do is go over and look at processing companies, so that it's processed in the country that it's harvested from, which will create jobs and create commerce and begin to place those of us in the diaspora to be able to go back home. As you know, they installed me as a king in Ghana, in the Adat region. You're part of the Kuba Kante family. Uh, and so, uh, but you don't have to call me Your Majesty. But
I don't mind.
but the thing is, over here we may not really grasp the significance of being a paramount chief or a king and what that really means. And as you experienced, I mean, once you are exalted and you're part of the family, everywhere you go in Africa, it's all black folks. And and everybody is respectful of each other. Now, when you look at television and you see the things that you were describing a moment ago, it's because, and I own TV stations, but I wouldn't let this happen to mine. The in the newsroom, the phrase is, if it bleeds, it leads.
Hmm.
If it bleeds, it leads. So if somebody's bleeding and hurt, that's the lead story. It's, you know, and instead of it being some great and wonderful stories about family members and folks helping people on a regular basis, it's just they've indoctrinated people to the point where they're wondering, well, what happened? What happened in last night? What happened over in the morning? I mean, etc. I'm not here to try to, um, change something like that, because that's products that are sold on TV stations. They require certain numbers of eyeballs watching certain stations at certain times, certain shows. Uh, I remember when we did a pilot for my family that was going to be uh, a reality show. And what we were going to do is we were going to show the kids in school, the grandkids being born and coming up. We were going to show the whole lifestyle that created, who we are. And it was rejected because it didn't have enough drama in it. They needed people, fighting and cursing and acting ignorant. And I'm serious. Think about it. What reality shows do you see that portrays African Americans in a positive light? But what they don't understand, in the business world, there's a lot of drama. There's a lot of nail biting. There's a lot of questions as to, should I go this way or that way? We were going to create our own Shark Tank type approach. We're going to where we would evaluate black businesses, small businesses coming to see us that we could potentially fund. and help grow and provide services. I mean, and there's drama in these things, good, solid, nail-biting drama in the business world. Um, but that's not what they, that wasn't what Hollywood wanted. They claim they did later on, but you still don't see it. The housewives and all these things. I mean, those are all drama-based, slutty activities, and that's how they want to continue to betray our people. So that's why we have to have shows like yours, which is a counterbalance to those kinds of that type of programming. And so I again applaud you for that. Now, I did write another book. It just came out, and it's a novel, and it's called "The President's Secret," and it relates directly to activities that took place in London, the United States, Afghanistan, and Africa, and the Bahamas. So it's called "A President's Secret," the Royal Bloodline, and it's out in all the bookstores, but they'll have to order it for you. It's by Michael B. Roberts. So that's going to be a whole. People say, "Well, how did you do? How can you go write a novel after all the other business stuff?" I said it took about 15 years, but it's interesting and people are liking it. And I wrote it to be like a trilogy, and it could potentially be a movie. I'm told people are saying that now. So
wow,
stand by.
well,
Let's see what happens.
yeah, I'm looking at it here, and I'm gonna try to see if I can share my screen so everybody can kind of
Sure.
see it and know what to look for on Amazon. But yeah, so here's the book, A President's Secret: A Royal Bloodline. You can actually read a portion of it. It looks like on Amazon, and the price is only $4 on Kindle, $16.73 hardcover, $11.64 paperback. And it looks like there's only 4 left in stock, so you better order soon. And so yeah, I think that's pretty awesome, though. I think I envy you, novel writers. I don't have that kind of skill. It takes a lot of imagination and intelligence. So congratulations on that.
Well, yeah, thank you. But it takes patience. You got really does. And actually, one of the better places is to buy it is from authorhouse.com.
Authorhouse.com. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'll put that URL on the screen.
Authorhouse.com, one word, and then go to store, and you can buy all my books there because I'm self-published.
Very nice. That's the best way to do it. Is that right? Authorhouse.com.
Yes, and It's better that way because I make more money that way. Amazon takes a bigger cut.
Yes, they do. Yeah. All my books are on Amazon, but I don't really send people to Amazon. I let them get their own traffic, and then if you buy directly, like even with Claude Anderson's book, same thing. Go straight to powernomics.com. So and I think that people listening, just for the record, self-publishing is kind of the way to go. Don't sit around waiting for somebody to give you a book deal. Just publish it yourself, and you can get good distribution and all that stuff. So I want to say thank you, Dr. Roberts, for joining us today. Man, it is always a pleasure to talk to you. And I wish you the very best on your trip this week. I know you're headed to Africa, and I look forward to seeing what comes out of that.
Well, it's going to be interesting. I'm here at the Congressional Black Caucus weekend in Washington. Right. As I said, I received the award last night, and so I'll be partying the rest of the weekend until I get aboard a plane for Ghana.
All right. Well, you have a good time, and by the way, everybody, Dr. Roberts is going to join us at the All Black National Convention, which is in Charlotte, North Carolina, October 28th through the 30th. You can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. I know a lot of you are coming. Don't forget that October 7th is the last day to get your discounted hotel room. After that, you got to pay full price, and the downtown Sheraton's a nice place. So the full rate is a lot higher than the discount rate. So you may want to go ahead and lock your tickets in and everything else. There's a URL on the screen. And not only will Dr. Roberts join us, but we got a lot of other great people there. Everybody from Rizza Islam to the chairman of the Air Jordan brand, Larry Miller, is going to join us and talk about how he made that company into what it is now. And just a bunch of other great people. And if you really want to hang out with a lot of other people who think the way we think, that's the place to be. So I look forward to seeing everybody in Charlotte, and I look forward to seeing you as well, brother. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it, and keep up the good work. We need you. We need you, and we need your voice.
Well, vice versa. So everybody, don't forget, go to authorhouse.com and take a look at Dr. Roberts' books, and let's support each other. And everybody give him a digital thank you, digital round of applause. Congratulations on your awards and everything else. And you guys have a wonderful day, and we will see you soon. Take care now. Bye-bye. Great interview, man. Record, man. What's your name, bro?
Marlon Jackson.
Marlon Jackson. Just like the Knights from the Jackson 5.
That's like Marlon Jackson. I was here first.
Oh, okay. You were here
first. Named after him.
And you said you're 62, years young. And
I never had a job. I just go live where there's an economy.
Wow.
As consumers, that's what you need if you have a product or service, somebody who can buy it.
So you wasn't looking for a check or a job. You was looking for a consumer.
I'm looking for some money.
All right. So, and you learned at an early age that you don't need a job to get money.
Well, I saw my dad, who was a strong Leo man, worked at the steel mill. And what happened was they laid everybody off when the Vietnam War went over, and all these men became punks and weak, and the women were taking care of them. And I said to myself, man, I'm not going to give nobody a chance to fire me.
Wow.
And I'm not going to do it because it broke my heart to see my dad, become this. Because all he knew was steel. He didn't know anything. They didn't train him to do anything else. And he died early at 55. I mean, it really. That's when the wino got started, because all these guys who got laid off would just sit around drinking wine and playing checkers, and you know what I'm saying?
Right. Wow.
And just giving up on life because they didn't know what else to do.
Wow. So for you, being an entrepreneur wasn't just about money; it was about preserving your manhood.
Yeah, man. I'm not a good man. I can't work for nobody.
I love it.
I can't have a boss.
All right, man. I love it.
My kids got something to do. I want to go see it. I don't need to go to nobody to ask for permission.
Right on. So did you feel like the majority of the men have that mindset? Do you think it's the opposite, that the majority?
Well, I think we mess our little man up because we tell them to get a job, we tell them they need to work, and those are slave terms. We need to tell our young kids, you need to make some money. So their minds will open up and they can start innovating, because it's hard to get a job when 10 million people are applying for the same job. And we do this to our kids, man, and these kids almost like, I'd rather go smoke some weed.
Wow.
Than try to compete with a bunch of everybody with applications standing in line for 2 or 3 days, you know what I mean? And they could have been using that same time to go out here and wash windows or clean cars. I know a guy at the car wash up here makes $400 a day. He just sits out there, people come consumers who don't want to clean their own car.
Wow.
And he makes about $20 a car, and he's making $400 a day. He don't have no overhead, but you just got to make money so that we can free our mind.
Wow.
Because work and job are slave words. That's what slaves do.
Wow, man, you preaching. It's funny. Did you catch the speech I gave?
No, I didn't.
That's what's funny. You didn't hear the speech. I was talking about this, but you didn't hear preaching.
I know Ron. I'm his personal assistant. So
okay.
Ron's from Oakland. I'm from Philly. I'm Malcolm X. He's Black Panther.
Wow.
So we get it,
man.
We're just trying to get everybody else to get it.
Well, you preaching to me, man, and I learned a lot of my manhood from the big brothers like yourself that teach me what manhood really looks like. We don't.
If you don't mind please. I do taxes, and the people who work for all these years, man, by the time they get retired, they're so beat up from working all them years, and they ain't making as much money, and they're like the slave that you said you're free now. And then you tell the retired person you're free now, you ain't gotta work no more. And they gotta figure out what to do with 10 hours a day.
Wow, and
that ain't easy.
And no skill in terms of how to make their own money.
How to do something else.
Wow, man.
Then they end up working at Walmart.
All right, I'm gonna let you get that call, man.
What I would like to share is that this program, you don't have to be educated to be into this program. It's a mindset to change your mind of your thinking. At the standpoint, I know there are a lot of people may not want to be involved because they think you have to be educated, you have to be smart, to be successful. But I just want to share that you have to change your mind. And my being here, it totally changed my mind. Being here, learning what I've learned, that I could able to share to some of my family, friends, and more so the community. So I encourage everyone that, that who don't know about this program, to get to know about it, get into it, come aboard. And I guarantee you have your mindset will change. And if you want to be wealthy, it's all up to you to do so. But I urge that anyone or anybody wants to get involved.
My name is Donna Rosby. I am from Sacramento, California, born and raised from Oakland, and I am a registered nurse. I am a member of what's called the Nursing or Real Estate Investment Club, but on the sideline, I am an investor in the stock market. So I actually have 4 investment clubs. I've been following Boyce for a few years now. I enrolled in this class. I unenrolled now because now I teach it. I actually consult with stock clubs, so I have ladies who have 4 groups now that I consult with the stock market. My clubs are very successful, and most recently I funded my first real estate club. It's called Funding the Block, and we are hard money lenders for real estate. So that's new in my genre. Me and Tasha McCrae, we do seminars. So learning about and teaching generational wealth is my forte. My 501c3 is going to be Dollars Have a Destination, which I'm going to educate children. I'm going to have a bus, and we're going to go through the cities teaching financial wealth, financial education, financial literacy. I have 3 books. Mrs. Dollar is my second name. So I've learned a lot, and I know that we have to keep this going. So making money is the easy thing. Finding money is easy for me, and then bringing people together so that other people can do the rest is what's worth. So Boyce has really pushed me over to the next stage. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Catherine Jason. I'm from Sacramento, California, and I was invited to the Freedom event by my daughter, Catherine Sylvester, and it has been absolutely wonderful. If you're looking for freedom or trying to retire, this will be a great event to engage in, to learn about finances, clearing your credit, and actually having your income to come into your life so you can help others and to leave something for your family down the line, generation.
There we go.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Butler. I'm from Alexandria, Virginia, and I'm in human resources, but what I'm really trying to be is free. And I came to the Freedom School actually through Dr. Boyce Watkins, watching some of his YouTube videos and whatnot, and one day I tuned in and I found Julian, and it just reconnected me with something that I've been wanting to do for years. So I called my daughter and said, hey, how about we start doing a better job at building our, family wealth and our financial freedom. So here we are. We're having a great time, great information. So many great people have come in from all over the country, and the information is just, it's building on top of what we've learned online and otherwise. So we're really happy to be here.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Can you tell the audience your name and where you come in from?
All right. My name is Kyle Dixon. I'm coming in from New York City, Harlem.
All right. What do you do?
I'm an educator. I also have my own business. I'm a co-founder and operating officer for Precise Minds Filmworks.
All right. And why did you decide to come to this event?
Well, I decided to come to the event because, Julian, the brother's amazing. He knows what he's talking about. Dr. Boyce Watkins, I follow him on YouTube and on social media. And these brothers have a lot to offer to the community as far as the information about real estate investing and just having a freedom lifestyle and investing not only in your community but really in yourself. So I had to come and see them face to face and be with other people, like-minded folks as myself, to be able to be a part of that experience and talk with them and see what ideas they have as well.
All right. And what was your experience with being here the last 2 days?
Oh man, it's been an amazing experience. I'm so glad I came. I was maybe a little hesitant at first, but I'm so glad I came because, just the knowledge and the wisdom and just the camaraderie with everyone here. Not just Dr. Boyce, not just Julian, but everybody met here from people from New York, people from Chicago, Las Vegas, Houston, Nashville, California, and like we're all just here to really see each other succeed. That, you know, you need those things, and it just breaks the narrative like that black folks can't work together. We're doing that. We're working together, and we want to see each other be the successful selves and invest towards their freedom. And it's just a beautiful event. I advise anyone who's thinking about coming to the next one that they definitely need to come down here. And we got a chance to go into the second line. We had our second line. Oh man, that was my Sunday right there. I'm good.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
My name is Lori Mile. I'm from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Go Blue. I'm a I guess an entrepreneur. I do Amazon selling and I do some Uber driving.
Okay. Well, tell us why you're here today and what you look to get out the weekend.
I came to find freedom. Find the road to freedom. That's what I'm looking for. And I believe Julian is going to help me make that transition.
Okay. And what do you think about the event so far?
Love it. I've enjoyed it. So much information. I'm gaining knowledge. I just have enjoyed it immensely.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Lori.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Hi, I'm Monique Lyons. I'm from Alexandria, Virginia. I'm in the spirit of generational wealth. I came down with my mom to New Orleans. It's been a great experience. She's the one who introduced me to the Health Freedom School and the webinars and getting on track in terms of growing my wealth. So far, the day has been great. A wealth of information on growing your wealth, returns on investment. I'm excited to get back home so I can figure out what the next step is. So doing this with my mom is probably also valuable to me because it's something we get to build together. So I'm excited. I definitely recommend it. So good luck to everyone and start growing that wealth.
My name is Olivia Mitchell, and I came here because I wanted to invest in myself. And by investing in myself, I feel like I'm also investing in my family. And I think over the course of these past 2 days, that's been ingrained in me from Julian's words, from Dr. Watkins' words, and it's going to be extremely valuable for me throughout this next decade, really, not even the next year. I'm thinking further and farther and beyond what I did before. I feel like my mind has been open, my perspective has been shifted, and I'm open to doing things differently than what I've been taught previously. So I'm going through an unlearning and expanding my horizons.
Hey, man.
My name is Robert Porter, and I'm here with my wife. I just wanted to let you know that you were awesome yesterday.
So Nicole Compton.
Nicole, you was just awesome. You got me thinking on how to set my estate now and how to start planning for my investment. You know, right on. We will be in touch with you. That is for sure. Bless you for everything you're doing. Thanks so much.
All right, my name is Ronnie Carter. When I first joined the group, I put a contract on a fourplex, closed on it, got 4 units, 4 people in there, and then I just I put in a contract. I put offers in for several other properties. I just got one accepted for a duplex. So I'm hoping to close that within the next maybe 30 days. So that's fresh. I got a couple other offers out there too. So this is what I've learned through the program, and just asking questions to like Facebook and other platforms we have. Man, I'm on fire. I'm going to hit it heavy. So I'm looking to hit that million soon.
All right. What did you think about the event this weekend?
The event this weekend was amazing. It really has something for everybody, no matter what their level is, their exposure to real estate, personal finances, and business finance. So it was really good. Nothing like being around like-minded people. So it was great. I love it. I can't wait till next year or whenever the next one is.
All right. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man.
What's your name and where are you coming in from?
All right, my name is Sharika Jackson. I'm a native New Orleanian, but I'm now residing in Houston. So for this particular experience, I'm looking forward to becoming an investor in the Houston area for now, and maybe the area of New Orleans later.
What made you choose to come to this event?
coming to this event is very inspiring. After having experienced the event that you hosted back in September, it was another opportunity for me to get some questions answered, for me to get some clarity on some things as it relates to changing my financial mindset, investing in my future through the 3 pillars of wealth that you mentioned and you teach in your program. So it's another opportunity to be surrounded by like-minded people.
All right, and what did you get out of your experience this past 2 days?
Oh my gosh, there were so many ahas in this particular program, but just the idea that I have to change my mindset in terms of when you're thinking in investing in real estate or even in investing in the stock market, you have to get away from what it looks like on the outside and look at its true potential and what its true potential will be able to do to affect your life financially and then allow you to affect generations that come after you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here, Shadrika.
Thank you for your time.
Bye-bye.
Sean and Latanya Arthur, Charlotte, North Carolina. Why we came to the event, we joined back in July.
Probably around July.
Yeah, and we saw something in the whole program itself because we needed to change one, but we saw the promise in it in doing something different and thinking different and being different and approaching money differently. And so we decided to come out to the event to kind of get around people like mine, and it's been phenomenal. You know, we have a plan now approaching how we go back, the things that we do, the next steps, and so this has just been great. So thank you, Julian and the crew. Really appreciate you, and we're looking forward to working with you guys further.
All right. Thank you so much.
It's not about billions and billions of dollars. Hey, that would be nice too. But it's about getting yourself in a position where you own something that you can actually get off the plantation and start living the life you want to live. I would recommend to everybody, go to the Black Business School, check out the multifamily movement, all the courses that Dr. Boyce Watkins offers. You will not be disappointed. Freedom!
All right, how are you doing? My name is Aaron Dorsey from Chicago, Illinois. I am a electrical engineer in the power industry, and one of the things that we learn in undergrad in a profession or either being a teacher or a 9-to-5 professional, we learn how to work for others, but we don't learn how to work for ourselves and take the things and the skills that we built into our 20s and once we get into this brave new world, how to basically build for our families, for our communities, and the things that are going on here with the multifamily movement, with the Black Business School, are giving us the additional tools to empower ourselves, the things that we didn't get that should have been implemented into our psyche, into our being earlier on to give us a lot more autonomy, power, and essentially that time, freedom to do the things that we would love to do, the things that we're naturally born to do, to create, to live in truth. So that's what this entire process means to me, and I'm glad to be here.
Okay, hey, my name is Avis Blackwell. I live in the Bay Area in California, and I actually follow Boyce Watkins on Facebook. I kind of keep track of what he's talking about. That's when I was introduced to Julian. And I just thought, boy, he's somebody I need to get on board with. Everything he said, I absolutely agreed with. So when this seminar came up, I immediately put my money on it because I thought this will be a good time for me to kind of meet other people and see what they're talking about and what they're doing. This has been the most fantastic. This has been the most fantastic experience, and it lets me know that I'm moving in the right direction. This is mostly for my daughter and my granddaughter. I want to set them up for future, for them to live well in the future and not be strapped down to a job like I have my whole life. So I'm very excited. I have met so many fantastic people. This whole thing has been unbelievable. I am so happy I'm here.
All right, can you tell us your name, where you coming in from, and what do you do for a living?
My name is Chris Chappelle. I come from Hammond, Louisiana, and I'm an assistant professor at Southern University.
Okay, perfect. And why did you decide to come to this event?
Because I wanted to be around like-minded people who not only have a passion for real estate, but also come in and knowing that I'm going to gain the knowledge base that I need and connect with people from all over the country. I promise you this is an absolutely wonderful event, one of the best that I've ever been in my life, and I've gained so much, and I'm energized to go back and share this with my family and the rest of my community.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name is Christina Williams, and I'm from the Tampa Bay, Florida area. Why I came to the event, because I thought this was like exactly what I needed. It's a confirmation of moves I need to be making in my life and letting go of fear and just deciding to make the changes right now. And what was the other?
What did you get out of the event?
What did I get out of the event is changing my mindset. Being around like-minded people, and I know that I am a big fish in a small pond, and this is confirmation that I need to be around people that are in the same mode of thinking, because that's going to help me go to the next levels and let go of the things that are holding me back. So it was a pleasure.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, can you tell us your name and where you're coming in from?
My name is LaTanya Arthur. I go by Coach T, and I'm coming in from Charlotte, North Carolina.
And why did you decide to come to this event?
I came because there's nothing like being in the room. You know, we're on social media and we're making connections. However, when you get inside the room and you feel the energy of everyone moving in the same direction, there's nothing else like it.
All right, what did you take away from the event?
What I took away from the event is we already own a single family property and we've got some equity in it, and subconsciously, I think we've been just sitting on it, not wanting to take it out. And after listening to Julian on the stage, it's like, what are we waiting for? Pull the trigger, take the money out, and have it work for you. So that's the biggest aha is, you know, we're ready to move forward.
All right, would you recommend this event to anyone in the future?
Listen, you better get here. You better get here. Absolutely, it is a must see, like a major event. You get here.
All right, thank you so much.
All right.